Well, it turns out the Gateway Pundit reports that Senate has just passed President Trump's big, beautiful bill. You can put on the screen there. Despite 3 GOP no votes, VP J.D. Vance breaks the tie, guys. We have funded the country. We did it. We fixed it. We got it all done. It's passed. So luckily for us, all that's going to happen now is we have crippling debt that's increasing, hyperinflation. Reminding you that supercuts here is now $30 for a supercut. That's like not a very super cut. You know, that's kind of like a sad cut for $30. Things are going to go downhill. Now we have this huge split happening in the Republican Party. And I'm going to find out whether it's a good or a bad thing, as Elon Musk has stated specifically that he might start a brand new party and is going to fund Thomas Massie. And just like he got Trump elected, says he's going to push Trump out. Is this the end of the MAGA boom? Will we see a third party finally rise? We're talking about that. Plus, later on today, there will be a debate going on that we'll be looking at a little bit between Dinesh and Fuentes. And we also have some more news and so much more coming up on another episode of The Rift, the best, worst show on the internet. Let's get into it. Oh man, I've had a day. Whether you're sitting out, whatever you're drinking, pop open a drink with me. Let me know in the chat. Are you having a coffee? You having a tea? Are you perpetuating your alcoholism? I'd love to know. Some of you are more smokers. Do you have a cigarette? Do you have a cigar? Or are you just sitting around like Diddy and you have something else in your mouth? And I'm not talking about Justin Bieber, but unfortunately. Joining me today to talk about all these stories, I'd like to welcome my group today. By the way, shout out to Michael Hennessy. Happy birthday. It's Michael Hennessy's birthday. So he's not here today. He's reading his Bible at home and praying also to Mecca and all the good things that young men do on their birthdays. Joining me on my right, of course, tell us who you are, why you're here.
My name is Braeden Sorbo, contributor for The Rift, actor, author of Embrace Masculinity, Lifting Men Up in a World That Pushes Them Down, and here to have a good time, cracking open a drink with you as well.
Amazing. And of course, I think this is not your first time on the show at all.
Second
time on the show.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are, why you're here.
I'm Edward Zoll. I'm a journalist and producer with Elijah now, and I'm here to talk about my little trip to the Gator Gulag. I went out to Alligator Alcatraz today.
Yeah,
I got chased by gators.
Was there real gators? Like, was there actually gators at the Gator Alcatraz?
There really are gators there. You will die if you try to escape from Alligator Alcatraz.
So in other words, if they have an unlimited food source.
Well, yes, they have an unlimited food source, but the scariest part today was the fact that the White House said, what could we do to get people on board with this? And then they gave an all-access pass to Benny Johnson. So, like what? I don't know what they were thinking. It's like, can we like not? There is a club, by the way. I will leak something here that I don't want to give details on, but it is true because our friends that work in the White House, there's literally an approved list of influencers that they can work with. And one of the stipulations is they can have no public criticism of Israel ever on their public rap sheet. They cannot be not being anti-Semitic. They cannot publicly have been critical of Israel in an informative way, or you do not get invited, which makes sense why it was mostly a bunch of rabbi juniors that got the Epstein folders. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that, and I also do remember the beginnings of Benny Johnson. I don't know if we want to go there today, but do you remember where he started?
Dude, we were childhood friends.
Okay,
we grew up together.
I mean, there's some things in the closet, man. There really are some things. I mean, BuzzFeed, that weird independent outlet he was running before he became like this new conservative brand. And honestly, by the way, there's plenty of anti-Semitic people that helped Benny build that brand.
They did, right? Me and Benny were in the closet together. I'm just kidding.
Wrong party.
Yeah, it's like, how'd you know? What do you mean growing up? We grew up together. We kissed each other. No, I literally, I loved Benny growing up as a friend. He's like a brother. You know, I always thought he was a really, really great guy. But I do know, it's been a pretty crazy rise to fame for himself, and it's been messy. We can talk about that later. But also joining me behind the production desk is the one, the only Mike Mendoza of the Mendoza Report. Welcome back, man.
I'm muted. What's up? I'm here. Following Mike Mendoza, JPG, and excited to get into it. Oh, by the way, and also if you're just joining us from the front page, which we are on right now, make sure to smash like, make sure to smash subscribe. And also if someone would be so gracious to drop the YouTube link in the chat as well. Make sure to follow us and follow our new YouTube. It's blowing up. We're almost at 5K followers in just under a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's literally just 3 weeks. Yeah, we're literally almost 5K subscribers in just a couple weeks. So that's just great growth. I just threw the link in there as well. Check it out and join us on YouTube. Send that link to your friends and family. Let's talk about this. So obviously today I woke up and, my life's perfect and I'm enjoying everything that's going on in the country. I love it. I love it so much, Sometimes I just get on my phone and I look at X and then I don't look at the shotgun in my closet and think, could we end it now? It's Big Beautiful Bill. What does Triple B stand for? Or Big Beautiful Bullets in my head. I've been feeling over the edge recently because the life feels comically stupid. It is incendiary in its own means, but also as we're going to talk about these stories, I feel like we are at a precipice in the development of our nation. When you look at it historically speaking, I sense a feeling that people know something's terribly wrong right now in our country. They're aware that our empire is declining. Nobody's hiding that. You can't even hide that in Nancy Mace's cleavage. The truth of the matter is, yeah, it's true. She's the one uploading the pictures, not me. It's very bizarre. But I just want to state this. It has gotten to a point to where from the anti-white rhetoric that's going around to the $100 million from the DHS to combat anti-Semitism to our leaders being more loyal to Israel than they are to the United States to Trump talking about deporting and, blackmailing Elon Musk and his companies because he wants to start a party to now calling Thomas Massie not a patriot. As we jump into the top story today, I just want to belabor the point. And I want to hear, gentlemen, if you're with me on this, something feels incredibly off, and it seems like unless something very serious happens within the next 10 years, we are past the point of no return, and that our society, it'll be slow, and then very fast all at once. We're going to see the collapse.
Well, look, Elijah, first of all, she went to the prayer breakfast. Okay, I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, she went to the prayer breakfast, okay? We're speaking about Nancy Mace, of course, and yes, it is.
She's a Christian, right?
Something.
Her and her daughters?
Something. Look, I have a small backstory on Nancy Mace. She was joining for a show that I was producing for, and no joke. She's behind the camera. She's getting ready. She's in the hotel room. She comes in here, unbuttons one button, and goes like this. Yes, it happened. It happened. Of course, the rule of thumb is you don't record before the interview. But man, there was probably something else going on in that hotel room. I'll tell you that. But look, she is an example of the decline. Like our politicians are women. They're trying to sell sex instead of sell any kind of policy or any kind of productivity or any kind of successes. And this bill you're talking about, you just spend 5 minutes looking through some of the extra crap that is in this bill and the gaslighting that you have to kind of endure or be completely ostracized by the party, by the way.
You have to. People know this. I've openly said I lobby for the Republican Party. And the issue was like I was obviously paid and asked to lobby for the big beautiful bill, and I really was. I was paid actually. And the thing is,
a bad job, I like.
The thing is, I read a bunch of it and I go, I can't. No, I literally told him I can't take these angles. What I can do is I can attack some of the people that are trying to gut the good things out of it, right? Mm-hmm. I knew that's a good angle. A few people had offered me, could you tweet this? Could you put this out? Could you do this? But one campaign I did take, which I thought, I can't say anything else because of NDAs or whatever, but it was like, hey, there's literally a Republican who's trying to change the minimum votes up from 51 to 60, not only to make it harder to pass the bill that we wanted, but also they changed things in the last minute, like gutting some of the funding for ICE for deportations. They took out some of the remittance taxes. Mm-hmm. We were going to tax Indians. Sorry to everyone here, but yes, we were going to tax the Indians. And, I think it was going to be 2% or 4%, and they cut it in half. We got all the good stuff gutted. So I was like, well, I'll attack the people that are trying to gut the good stuff. Unfortunately, when I was originally like coming up with some of my posts on it, it took me a terribly long time to find anything good in it.
Well, sure. I mean, it's a tax on Braeden's freaking generation, man. That's really the core of it.
You're screwed, Braeden.
I'm cooked.
$4 trillion, man. Like when I looked at some of the details, it's double. It's double what the past bills were, and it took all the cool stuff out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like we're told, oh, well, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on what Social Security, stuff like that. And for my generation, tax on tips and overtime, great, because I don't want to pay taxes on the tips I receive. I used to work at a golf course as one of the cart, like I literally was the guy that would put the golf bags on the golf cart. And most of my money was tips, right? From golfers, like, oh, thanks, here's a $5, here's a $1, here's $3, whatever. No tax on tips would have been perfect for that. And yet, it was in the original one. It was in like the very first, drafts of the big, beautiful bill. And then little by little, we're seeing slight little footnotes. Oh, well, actually, no tax on tips only if you make under a certain amount of money or what have you. And then you have the cuts to Medicaid. And that's one of the things that I'm finally in favor. Like, okay, great. We're making massive cuts to Medicaid because we know Obamacare was so successful when it came out. I remember in 2008, I was 7 years old. I didn't know what the hell healthcare was because I didn't care. All I cared about was my shoes lighting up and being faster than the other kids on the playground.
Hey, that's still all I care about. Honestly,
It's true, and I am faster than most of the kids on the playground.
you know what? Not up where I'm staying. I'm currently staying in Lake Worth, which it's not a lot of valuable people in that city. All I can say is it took me about 15 minutes to buy a sugar-free Sprite at the 7-Eleven because a guy was talking about Michael Jackson and orgasms and stuff and tapping his foot and dancing. And me and the Indian guy who ran there were like, wow, these Lake Worth people are
Lake
really
Worth people.
annoying. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my drink. I am very aware that a lot of these people have made it that we need to run fast because, unfortunately, we're not safe as long as they live in our cities. These Lake Worth people, they're in every city in South Florida. It's becoming like that. It's insane. Anyway, I want to read about the bill. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the Diddy case. We're going to talk about some of this stuff going on because there's a partial verdict reached. Let's get into our top stories for today. Let's talk about the news. And there you go. Well, the Senate passes President Trump's big, beautiful bill despite 3 GOP no votes. Vice President J.D. Vance breaks the tie. Stephen Miller came out before this even ended and said, this is the greatest thing ever. Trump delivered on everything. He done everything he said. Remember when he campaigned and said that we're going to fight for Israel more than this country and that we're going to bomb Iran? Remember when he said that? Yeah, no, I don't remember that. Anyway, Senate passes this bill. Check this out. Colin Linebarger reports from thegatewaypundit.com. People know I'm also a journalist at the Gateway Pundit, and I have a show there. Feel free to check it out. The Senate has passed President Trump's big, beautiful bill, sending it to one step closer to becoming the law. It's big, and whenever we're calling a bill big, I did want to bring this up. So one of the reasons why they don't do a standalone bill right now, apparently, is because we don't have enough votes to actually do standalone. So a lot of people are asking, why don't we just pass the budgetary concerns we want rather than this, extremely stuffed bill that we had to call big? Like, I like how usually you hear of a bill that's big about budget and it's bad, but they're calling it beautiful. And usually I've always told people when people try to tell you things in government are amazing and beautiful, it usually means they're expensive and there's a lot of crap in there.
Waste. Largesse.
Yeah, waste. Earmarks.
It's usually considered to be overly excessive, right? And yeah, it's because of a rule, I believe, that they have one shot at doing it with a 2/3 or obviously less than that, so majority, because we don't have a budget passed for next year, right? And so you can. It really is. None of us would approve this if it was under Biden or Obama. Like, we wouldn't be down with the government basically circumventing the processes that were in place.
We'd have entire episodes being like, this is waste and fraud, and look at the earmarks. Because it's Trump, it's scary because what I've noticed is that it's really a loyalty test right now. If you're not loyal to Trump, they treat you like libtards or shit libs, like as if you're like, oh, Trump's a racist. You're like, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying like, hey, Trump has sold out to special interests, and right now, currently, his domestic and foreign policy doesn't appear to be exceeding my my standards of what I expected from what he was going to do. And I think a lot of MAGA people think the same thing. The fact that this is going to secure the deportation of 5 million illegals by 2030, when Trump just today said 21 million actually probably might have come in during Biden. You're going to get 25% of the illegals, just the illegals, not even the legals. We need to get Vivek out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to deport Vivek. It's crazy.
That's a great point, because obviously when they're talking about illegals, they're not just talking about the criminal cartel members. They want to sneak in, obviously, a class of worker that unfortunately looks like me at times, to come in and do what they consider to be high-skilled labor. But one reason I think you're correct to want to shoot your brains out, please don't do that. You have beautiful children.
They wouldn't like it, but
why
might
you
have
want to do
peace
this
for
is
once.
you have a memory, and you remember 2017, 2018, how we were constantly told under the first Trump administration we couldn't afford a wall. It's too expensive. There's no way you can find $100 billion to build a wall. You might have to fundraise one and then cause a paraplegic person to go to jail for it. That's a separate episode. But in regard to this, we've somehow found an extra $2 trillion, and we're not modernizing the military. We've still got the fat black women holding drones in their hands at our parade. What the hell was that, by the way?
Okay, we never even talked about the parade, but it made me feel better about myself because that was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. You have a
Did you see
military
any
parade.
clips?
I didn't see
You
many.
didn't,
No,
you didn't see it?
Exactly,
Okay.
because they didn't want you to
Yeah.
see
They didn't
many.
just, it wasn't impressive. You have a military parade to brag about how badass your military is and how it will kill people if you have to use it, right? Not that you want to frickin' sell interceptor missiles to Israel, not that you want to have to deploy Kananja Brown and her drone in her hand to go fight white supremacists in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, it was
right?
just one big circle jerk.
Yeah.
Is what I got from the gist of it. But I mean, this is when we're talking about the bill ruining for the country with everything being passed. It's just like when, women online will comment, "Oh, my girlfriend is so beautiful," and it's like one of the most unattractive. That's basically what the bill is. It's the government telling you it's this one beautiful thing, when in reality it's
Or like
just
pixie haircuts when the women tell
yeah.
you're gonna look so cute with your hair short. The bill's so big and beautiful, and it's like interesting.
Yeah.
That's what she said anyway. It's true. It's big. It's beautiful. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. It's the biggest bill I've ever seen, and in fact, it's bigger than your friends. I want to talk about the bill though.
The bill must be black.
The bill. The bill
It also
passed.
doesn't work.
5150, which is how I'm going to get charged with that probably pretty soon. Because of the way I feel. Honestly, when you start seeing a lot of like pro-white tweets from me, like in a row on X, you know that I'm like, the blood of my ancestors who fought in the revolution is like flowing through me. I'm just like, I hate the way they treat us. In fact, so funny. We were at the Green Goddess, or whatever our favorite cafe is that we always go to. And this young guy, he's a white guy. Maybe he's white, I don't know. But he said something about my credit card. I was just messing with him. He's like, "Oh, it's heavy." I was like, "Yeah, what's heavy about it is it doesn't have a limit, but it's a business credit card, so they don't have limits." And he's like, "Oh, you must do something, whatever." It's like, "Nah, I run a media company." And he goes, "Like, how'd you get started doing that?" I go, "Oh, by being racist." And he goes, "Huh?" I go, "Yeah. I got into this from being racist." And he's like, "How so?" I was like, "I tried to get 2 jobs and I got discriminated against for being white in LA. I got tired of the racism and realized that everybody hated me because I was white. And I decided that I was going to use the rest of my life to fight against these bullshit ideas." And he's like so uncomfortable, like he didn't know what to say. Mind you, he's working, but I just was like, just realizing how cucked we all are and how absolutely ridiculous this has become, that it's like, a white guy's even like scared to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of people that hate white people in this country, and they're, really working to destroy us. And I think that as we talk about this bill, I bring this up. A lot of this is a reminder that a lot of this waste is because we have about 100 million people in this country that shouldn't be here, clogging our streets, using our infrastructure. You know why LA is too crowded? Because they didn't design the freeways in LA expecting 10 million illegals and legal Mexicans to flood LA. That's not what it was designed for. That's not what our cities were made for. New York itself included. These cities, even Florida, it wasn't made to have another 4 or 5 million Cubans flooding the streets. Like, that's not what our founders designed the country for. So when you think about these bills reminding you that we wouldn't have this problem if we were in a homogenous society. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get there. So the best thing we can do now, that I believe, is to find people that are at least, even if, I don't think it's just finding people that are the same race, it's finding people that are the exact same mindset, and want to preserve white culture, want to preserve white society. People that, may have come here 30, 40 years ago even now, that realize that what's happening is horrible. And what I realize here is, as expected, this article says 2 of the GOP no votes came from Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky and disgraced Rhino Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina. The other no vote came from Susan Collins of Maine. Trump came out and said that basically, why is he disgraced? Did something happen? I don't remember this.
I was just about to
What
ask that.
happened?
I'm like, is it because he opposed the bill?
That's what I wanted to
He's
know.
disgraced now? I think that's probably why. So
That's diabolical.
yeah.
Well, I just want to bring this out. So he says no. What does Trump say today? Trump says that he wants to replace Tom Tillis with his daughter, right? Not Ivanka. because she's already replacing her husband with her
Laura?
jujitsu
Laura.
teacher. Yeah, Laura. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. He wants Laura to run for Senate
Wow.
now, and you're like, cool. More Zionists in Congress. Why didn't I think about that?
Not even more women. in
Yeah, more
Congress.
women Zionists. Good idea,
really
Braeden.
don't
Why didn't
need
I
it.
think about this? Why would I want you in Congress? I need a woman that loves Israel, particularly fat with the dyke haircut, running the country, please. 7 of them on repeat. If black, better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm a terrible choice for office, right? I only care about this country first and foremost, and specifically being from this generation. It's not like I could actually relate to voters with the struggles that we all face. That would be terrible. We need someone who is a mom who got a bunch of money from foreign lobbying interests and who is now going to sit and, promote anything that isn't America first. Besides the fact that, biblically speaking, sorry guys, from the Christian perspective, women cannot lead. Not because they're worthless, not because they're less valuable than men, but because they have different capabilities. Men can't give birth. Women can. That is the difference. That doesn't mean men are less than women because they can't give birth. People really are idiots online because when you say one thing, they immediately assume what's the fallacy called again? Where you say, oh, I don't like waffles, and they go, well, that means you must love pancakes. It's like, or maybe I'm just not a fan of breakfast food. Maybe that's just the stance.
It's a little bit of a straw man fallacy, isn't it?
It's a straw man. Yeah.
Well, look, we have somehow been maneuvered into only having what we consider like the right side based female politicians. Right? We, if you think of them like the MTGs, they'll mischaracterize people as based. They're like, oh, Nancy Mace is based because she's hot. Like hot to who, right? Hot to maybe 50-year-old guy.
Based in a strip club? Like,
In a strip club.
What is it
Yes,
that you
she
like
is
about
based,
her?
She is based in a strip club and was based there probably beforehand. But but here's the thing: we're told to not back people like Matt Gaetz, who sure he's got some skeletons in the closet. Right? Everybody's got some skeletons in their closet. But
Hell yeah, brother. Some people are the skeleton in their own closet. We were talking about earlier,
we
right?
were talking about that.
Yeah.
But look, he was forced not only out of office, but out of the frickin' AG position. Just in the last 6 months, we don't like you can't just look back over the last 10 years because sometimes people can't relate to that. Well, you can relate to this. 6 months ago, we were going to have Attorney General Matt Gaetz, and we kept being told, no, there's no way he's going to make through confirmation. Then a whole bunch of the people that we wanted in didn't make through confirmation anyway. And then some people that, like RFK Jr., for example, did, and it didn't look like they could stop a confirmation. This to be said, I don't feel like we're getting a lot of the things that we put our lives on line for here. We often do forget how dark it got in 2022, 2023, and 2024. Like, really, they wanted to kill us. They wanted to remove our jobs, our income, or wanted to not just remove us online. I mean, Elijah knows this. Elijah is a freaking son of the revolution in this respect. I mean, he survived through censorship and canceling. And look, there were a lot of people
I survived women.
Yes, the women.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Women,
right? Am I right? Am I right about them? I feel like I'm
definitely
a little bit right. Women, man, they're crazy. Yeah, but keep going.
Yes.
they make me
Just to
seethe.
be said on this, I'd say that we have to have a memory that's kind of like an elephant in this respect. We can't just live in the last couple months or the last couple of tweets. We have to remember what we were even fighting for.
Yeah.
And if we can't remember that, then we are truly cooked, right? We have no idea where we're going. We're just going to follow whatever President Trump tweets about or tries to damp up. Look, I'll say this. The alligator Alcatraz thing, interesting marketing, kind of
By the way,
exciting,
to clarify,
right?
so somebody asked you who you were, and I said, this is the guy when I mentioned earlier that there was a black guy, a Lake Worth guy, standing between me and the 7-Eleven worker. He's the 7-Eleven worker.
It was
yeah.
a great story. I don't know why Elijah didn't want to hear about Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He just kept wanting to check out.
Just kept wanting to get on with his day.
I run a show. Why didn't you come on today?
Yeah.
So, yes, came down
No,
here.
he's a journalist. He was at Alcatraz. He's also helping us right now with production. And he's also going to help me be gutting the studio. I know it looks fine, but it's a total mess in here with the wiring and stuff. So we kind of built the studio like really haphazardly and quickly, and now we have to like turn it into a professional operation.
What if we had
because
cup
we have Braeden
holders?
here?
What if we had cup holders?
Oh, I'm the contingency. And once
it's
I
like-
showed up,
We have somebody
That's
from
when we
I
started
was like
making it.
we're actually like the show's off the ground now, and we need to like actually shape up and stuff. I mean, I love having wires like horizontally crossing the room, but it needs to be nice here.
Who doesn't?
We need to make this a white studio. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be ordered. I do want to talk about this because I want to get into the bill, the provisions, because everyone's saying, someone in the chat says I'm being pissy, right? About the bill because it codifies Trump's EOs. And yeah, it does. So I'm not upset. There's things in the bill that I'm not upset about, and we'll cover those. But I also know that there is probably so much waste and fraud that if the whole point is that if people were not so in the Trump cult, we would be actually getting probably a lot better research of what's actually in it. Because no one wants to say it because they don't want to fall out of line.
I'm tired of people telling us we're being pissy or telling us we don't understand politics.
Defectors.
If we're unwilling to call out, if we're willing to call it the compromises, look, if there's a rule in town that secures your home, but there's also a provision in that same rule that a bunch of black guys get to bang your wife, you wouldn't be cool with this rule, right? I mean, it's like it doesn't mean that because we get a couple good things and then we get completely screwed. In the other hand, that we somehow should just accept that we've moved maybe one step.
They
or two
want us
step
to.
forward.
The Republican Party. Being in the Republican Party is like essentially makes you a Bonnie Blue of politics. Not only are you getting ran through by everyone and their dad, literally, probably has happened, but you're supposed to enjoy it and like somehow advertise it like it's fantastic. And when you fall out of line, everyone's like, "Oh, dude, you're turning against us." I'm not turning against you. You said something very important that I wanted to repeat. When you really read what do we want as a country? When you read what our founding fathers wanted, what they wanted was a nation, which is unfortunate for a lot of people in this room, but they wanted a nation for upstanding white Christians to have a country. That's really what this nation was. And obviously that's not what it is. And obviously things have changed now. So this is why I'm not a big Wignat guy, because rather than looking like, I think a lot of Wignats remind me of women, where like you ask a woman, what do they want to eat? And they say they don't care. And then you give them two options and they don't want either. It's like you're basically doing the same thing where it's like, well, I want a white supreme society of just whites. And none of these people are like, okay, that's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. How are you going to do it? And no one can ever explain it to me. No one ever explains it. And it's like without having to murder a bunch of people. And it's like, okay, then go murder a bunch of people. By the way, I'm saying this in context. I'm not calling for violence. I'm saying, hypothetically speaking, obviously they're not going to do it. It's like, it's a lot of what they present to the world is the equivalent of guys showing you a girl that's universally hot and being like, would you F her? You're like, yeah, dude, that's not our class of people. Like you're looking at unrealistic vibes. And by the way, all Gen Z are like that. There was like, she's mid, bro, and it's like Sydney Sweeney. But anyway, I do want to mention
you're doing it. You're doing it right now. If you think back to this, a lot of people don't talk about this when you talk about the Constitution and the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers were, in the majority of them, in their 20s. They were the Zoomers of their age, and they were rebelling against the mindset of the Boomers of their age, right? The Boomers that drug those Americans into the French-Indian War, that kept in this ongoing, pretty abusive relationship with the Crown. And I mean, Elijah, you've kind of put your money where your mouth is by working with a lot of the up-and-coming patriotic Christian Zoomers. Braeden being one of them. But I think we have to have a Hercules mindset. All right, we're really gonna have Hercules mindset.
Nice callback.
I watched it. Did you watch it, Elijah? Did you watch it when you were younger?
I just don't like telling technically my employees that I used to like watch their dad shirtless. You know what I mean? It's like a weird state. It's like we all seen your dad's nipples.
It was an awesome show.
It's a good show, actually. I do. I like his acting.
This party thing that Elon's talking about, it's actually kind of exciting. Can we say that?
Yeah.
I mean, look, Elon Musk. He might be a spurg. He may or may not be on a bunch of drugs. But you know what?
For sure.
He's saying the very thing we were calling for in 2015 and 2016.
Yeah.
We were just as black-pilled in that era. We thought there would never be any kind of way out of what Obama had done to the country. And then Trump came along and he said, I will deport people. Remember, that was literally the only thing he was saying for like 6 months. We're like, oh, wait, well, this sounds different, right? We're at this turning point again. And what if Elon Musk opens up some place where we can actually have a say more than what we're having right now?
A challenge is what I want. Now, I want to remind you guys of something very important. As obviously we're talking about this, many of you know that we've partnered with MyPillow, particularly. They're an incredible company. We've been working with them for a long time. And right now they have a deal at MyPillow, promo code Elijah, where you can get their Percale bed sheets. They're just $25 right now. So it's like they're usually like $100 or something like that, like 75% off. Percale bed sheets, if you ever try some, I gave them to my teammates here, and they're breathable, they're soft, and they feel really good on the skin. They don't itch. On top of that, you can get their pillows for $15. So a lot of you guys don't think about getting new things for your house because everything's are expensive. You want a good value set, and it's really nice, by the way, because I'm about to move into a new house on Saturday. And
well, Elijah, is it Nancy Mace an ambassador of MyPillow?
Is she?
MyPillows, yeah.
She's. I'm gonna say, some men have rested their heads there. Then I said heads plural too. You know what I mean? But anyway,
wow.
But anyway, it's trying to be a professional show. But My Pillow has everything. Plus, by the way, they have this new energy drink called Rev 7, which I've been waiting to try. And the reason why I want to try it is because it doesn't have caffeine. It has a nootropic called Go BHB, which actually helps your body to have focus and energy without the jitters. And they'll give you a 3-pack free with your order right now. When you go to use my promo code Elijah, you get a discount on all things you order and free energy drink sent to your house at mypillow.com, mypillow.com, promo code Elijah. If you're going to buy anything for your house, pillows, bed sheets, towels, they have everything, right? Robes, slippers, get it there at mypillow.com, promo code Elijah. Check it out. Shout out to everyone on Rumble and on YouTube. If you're watching, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, or follow wherever you're at. Please do so. It's really important, but I want to read what's in the bill here real fast. Okay, so the passage comes after Democrats stalled progress for hours this weekend. It's a 940-page bill. After that, the Senate embarked on a massive vote, a RAMA, which ended late this morning. The legislation accomplishes several critical policies, including making the Trump tax cuts permanent, eliminating taxation on tips and overtime, locking down the border, and taking an axe to Joe Biden's green energy scam. Senator Lisa Murkowski has flipped and is now a yes on the one big beautiful bill. This was thanks to Senate Republicans reportedly doubling the rural hospital fund from $25 billion to $50 billion. Alaska, of course, has a large rural population. And before the vote, Chuck Schumer was able to strike the name Big Beautiful Bill from the bill's text. How childish and pathetic on his part. This is a breaking news story that will be updated as we go along. We're not going to get too far into it, but I'll just kind of conclude here.
Was that Chuck Schumer doing coke at the bottom there? Or what?
Yeah, these are Korean. Dude, the ads.
Muscle loss.
Dude, Gateway Pundit and Rumble for sure compete on like the best ads possible. Like, in like your Rumble, you'll be like, oh, I want to watch Big Beautiful Bill. I've heard there's a lot of mid-roll ads, which by the way, you should just buy a Rumble membership to avoid that.
I think that's a stick for sure.
Yeah, or you can buy a Locals membership and watch it on there too without any ads. So you can watch it on Locals, which we have. But it's like, I love when you'll be like, oh, the Big Beautiful Bill. And it's like, some AI Joe Rogan voice. It's like, I can't do his voice. It's like, one time I took 2 big containers and I put a string between them and then I lit them on fire and it heated my home. To find out this new tip, how to heat your home using giant plastic containers right now at plasticcontainertips.com, promo code Joe. You're like, what the hell? Like, I don't even know what he's talking about.
The scariest part
I don't
is
know what he's talking about.
Someone's clicking.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like
legitimately, we talk about the big beautiful bill, the big bastardized bill. But I tell you this, we really should be protecting our parents from the Rumble and the ad scavengers. Like our parents are getting scammed by Nigerian princes daily.
The Indian scammers are crazy. Yeah. Well, did you see that there's now like an AI that real time can translate different accents into English accents? And so like there was this one Indian guy showing it and he had the whole, the very thick Indian accent
goodness.
And mid-sentence he turned it on and it hid 90% of it. And I was like, oh, grandmas are screwed.
Braeden, have your parents come to you and like asked you if this is real? Like my dad's done this, but for you, it'd be really funny if your parents would come to you.
Oh yeah, no, they've gotten texts, they've gotten emails. Thankfully, they know to check with me. They're like, "Is this a legitimate email, Braeden?" And it's like from X.com or X at
monetization,
something.com. And I was like, "No, please don't click that. Please never click. Drag it to junk. It'll auto filter eventually."
All the X ads are fake, by the way, and that's actually true. However, I will tell people that, like, dude, stop complaining about ads. Just buy a membership somewhere and watch it. So, like, I don't say get YouTube Premium because I want to support free speech, but it's like, I have YouTube Premium. I have all the things. Remind me, can you please get YouTube Premium on our Rift account so that we can stop seeing ads on our own videos? It's really annoying. I'm trying to, like, play back shit and, like, find stuff. But I say just get something and watch it there. Whether you're going to watch it censored or you're going to, watch on Locals or whatever. We are no longer at censored, though. I want to remind you guys, and we love censored, and maybe we'll be there again in the future, but they asked us to stop putting our content up. So, yeah, it was like, literally stop putting your content on our website. And I was like, okay. But I have nothing bad to say about them. I just was like, okay, fine. A couple super chats as we go into our next topic here. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, get a camera on Braeden here.
Wait. Why is the camera on me?
$100 from Homer J. Fuentes. Get some music.
Is this where I flex?
Yeah, you have to take your shirt off for $100. We left it from 50 to 100.
I was gonna say we need
to flex.
I need to negotiate.
When he's on,
I need to negotiate a cut
here we go.
Because I deserve a piece of this.
You literally get paid to be here, and you get free food. That's your cut.
And alcohol. You get alcohol too, kid.
Let's go.
There we go.
All right, I love it.
That's
hey,
very.
hey, wait.
good.
But this is like such a Gen Z thing.
That's very Preston, and that's definitely on par.
Hey, well, you know, my dad did the exact same thing to get in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
It's Herculito, you know, Hercules and his son. But no, say on the side note, thank you, Homer. And just remind you with $100, somebody does strip on the show. It's a professional show, but you know, I've always ran pretty raunchy shows in the past, honestly. So we have to have a little fun on the show because obviously we know. Somebody asked, like, can you get Riley Reid on next? Like, he's like, dude, like, can we not, please?
Well, she'll be speaking at CPAC. Her body, right?
Yeah,
Culture outreach.
And then she
Young
met
women's leadership.
her husband at the wall in Israel, and it's like, did you hear that? By the way, I don't ever want to talk smack on anyone's wife or marriage, so I'm going to say this without any commentary. But if you go watch the Young Women's Leadership Conference at Turning Point, I love Turning Point, by the way. Believe it or not, I'm not against Turning Point. I like Turning Point. I like Charlie. I like the guys there. I'm not against them. But I listened to his wife tell the story of how they met, and it was like, she was like, you know, and when we first locked eyes in Israel, and we were at the wall, and I was like, who is this guy? He's so cute or whatever. And then like I approached him on the plane. No, wait, was it our first trip to Israel together? No, maybe it was our second time in Israel. I don't know which Israel trip it was. You're like, well, you guys have gone to Israel a lot, haven't you? And it was like, and she was like, basically like, you know, you never know when you're going to Israel if God's going to bring you your husband. I was like, so now we're telling girls you got to go to Israel to get married? This is getting out of hand. But you know what? Charlie's a better man than I am. So I have no judgment, and his wife's beautiful, and she's a lovely lady. But you know, he's a wonderful guy. I do like Charlie. He's always been really kind. You know, I just think that, you know, selling out to Zionism is a unpardonable sin. You know, so I just think that it's you know what I mean? It's one of the worst things you could do is to sell out to the people who are destroying our country. I find that to be somewhat sad, but I still like Turning Point. I work with them. I'm still on their wait,
Are you an ambassador?
Wait.
He's one of two ambassadors, I believe. That
No, when you go to their
no
website,
longer go to an event, but are listed as ambassadors.
Yeah, so I'm still on the. So you go to Turning Point. I'm still listed here as their approved speaker. When you go, as you're a college student and you want a speaker, it gives you a list of a speaker bureau of who can speak at your college, and I'm on there. And so it's Candace. But every time someone tries to book me or Candace speak at their college, we're told that the funds are no longer available.
Oof.
Can they at least update your profile? Will they update the copy on that? Like talk about the rift and.
Yeah, I should ask
I mean,
them that.
you really should update it at least.
Like, hey, they'll just delete it. But it's like I'm the only like Turning Point approved Turning Point speaker other than Candace who's not allowed to speak at Turning Point events. And reminding you, I spoke at all their main conferences. I did tours with Charlie, and then like about October 8th or October 7th, 2023, I think it was about. I don't know if I have the date right, but I stopped being allowed to speak at Turning Point events. So we don't know what happened.
What happened around then? Was something in the water that?
I think it was like
Something in the air.
I think it was like a magnetic shift in the poles or something like that.
Skydiving trip accident or something.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think it was a skydive. It was a paragliding event. That's what we're calling it now. No, but it was funny. And then I've talked to Candace a lot about it, by the way. I like Candace. What do you think about Candace? That's a side note. Everyone's always mad at Candace. I don't know what. Everyone's calling her like names and shit. And I like her.
I remember when Candace was promoted to, I think it was the African American outreach position by Charlie Kirk. I was actually at the Restoration Weekend event where she had been brought in as an ambassador, which isn't even speaking, wasn't big yet. And I was just thinking back to that moment where Charlie, you know, he essentially thought he had this younger, you know, maybe talent. I think they're actually she's older than Charlie Kirk, is she not? Someone look that up. But I do remember that she was a little bit wide-eyed at that point. I don't think she knew exactly where everything was going to go. She obviously made a good play with Daily Wire, but has now become a great ally of the truth. And look, she's married well, she's had kids, and she's kind of living the life. So I'd say that she's nothing but a benefit now to our side.
Also, yes, Candace is older than Charlie.
Yeah,
Bravo.
okay, she is older. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I always find it interesting how everyone loved Candace for a long, long, long time. You know, because I remember when I was 13, 10 years ago, I spoke at an event, and that was when I met Candace and Charlie. And Candace was barely getting her start, right? This was when Charlie had first discovered her, and she'd been maybe on like 2 podcasts, but everyone could tell, oh, she's well-spoken, she's smart, you know, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then for the past decade, she's been super high up in terms of conservative media speaking. Everyone's like, wow, she's right about everything. She's right about all this. Oh my gosh, she's so good. And then she says one thing. She's like, how dare you, you traitorous, mongrel, awful person. It's like, okay, hypothetically speaking, if I was right about every single thing that I ever said, would I just stop being right all of a sudden just because I said something that you didn't like? Just a personal question people might want to reflect on.
Well, I love that in the video era, you can actually go back and look at all the endorsements. Right. She was so approved that she could interview President Trump in 2021 and 2022. I believe she had the sit down. And now you have to like disavow her. You have to like try to do an ad boycott. But it was only a couple of years ago. She was good.
Here's where it doesn't work. So like, okay, by no means am I anywhere near as influential or ever had as big of a career as she has had. And she's more talented than me too. But I do say this. It's kind of funny because it's the same thing, like with like being on the website. It's like, how could you take me off your website? Like, what are you going to tell me? What did I say or do? What have I said or done that isn't fighting for America? That isn't around? What am I doing that I can't? Like, why would like you? They have to tell you, hey, you're getting removed.
Sit on a dildo or kiss Milo Yiannopoulos. I mean,
well, we don't know. I've been blackout drunk before.
What the?
No, I'm just kidding. This goes back to the Benny Johnson jokes. He was going after Benny a lot, recently. So I just thought that was a funny joke.
He's going after Laura too.
Yeah, he's gone after me too. But I mean, I still don't understand because I like Milo. I think he's a talented person. I think he's funny. Yeah. And I appreciate him. I got a lot of my like mannerisms from him. I actually watched him like religiously. I used to go pay to go to his shows and shit. I really enjoyed it. And I got beat up for the first time by Antifa outside of one of his shows in California.
Oh, wow.
And I got radicalized me, so I got a concussion. So thank you for that. But on a side note, I did say with the Candace thing, the problem with this stuff is it's like, I'll talk to people and they'll always have these reasons of why they don't want to work with me anymore. But they're never saying, oh, because you lied or because you did something abhorrent, or it's always just like, the way that you've taken this, what do they call it? Israel derangement syndrome. You're like, dude, okay. I'm not carrying a Palestinian flag around. Mm-hmm. I'm not calling for Israel to be wiped off the face of the earth. Sir, you guys literally called for Palestine to be turned into a parking lot. And Randy Fine is celebrating bombs being dropped. I've said, you guys, your government is horrible and you people are mental. Your people, it's a degraded society that celebrates death, and it's psychotic to try to restart that nation in the middle of all of your enemies and then try to force the United States to paralyze its own growth of its country and have Europe taking the refugees of the people you don't like. It's psychotic, anti-social, anti-European, anti-American behavior. And you're just mad because we're calling it out now. And instead of like arguing with us and being honest, you have to act like we don't exist. However, after being fully canceled, which Candace experiences too, after getting fired, when I was in Australia, a lot of people wouldn't work with me that will talk and work with me now. Why? Because they realize the right wing is shifting. And if they don't make some shifts, it's sort of like why Matt Walsh is allowed to kind of go attack dog now, because they needed to save Daily Wire was failing financially as a sinking ship.
Well, still is.
They had to, but they have to recover it.
They lost arguably one of the best up-and-coming talents. I mean, we talk about the investment among the Zoomers and really pouring into the next generation. And Brett Cooper, it's now established. She was great talent. Fox News picked her up. And I think what you're speaking about, look, the other weird wave of the Republican Party has been that this past month, you have people like Steve Bannon and others now basically saying the exact same thing we were saying 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And that we're losing sponsors over, or being removed from platforms over, getting fired from the Daily Wire. I mean, literally, what Steve Bannon said on his show and was advocating for over the last couple of weeks would have got you fired from the Daily Wire only 2 years ago. But again, where do we go from here? Because I don't know if you feel this way, Elijah, but it definitely, to me, came off a little bit fake. Right, hearing some, and I think Charlie Kirk even he maybe went the route that Steve Bannon went. Everyone in Real America's Voice went the route of condemning, somewhat of the support of Israel, because it wasn't exactly.
It did seem like it was a Rav decision, because like Posobiec, like everyone there kind of went in that direction.
Even though they've all taken multiple trips, right? And I mean, for Steve Bannon, the only saving grace out of this whole thing, I'm not a fan of Mark Levin either, but I was watching the back and forth between Steve Bannon and Mark Levin, where Mark Levin is digging up all of the skeletons on Steve Bannon from the from the Build the Wall fiasco that led to essentially Steve Bannon's indictment and imprisonment. People don't know about this, but there was a paraplegic man that went to jail for the $25 million that magically disappeared, and Steve Bannon was able to get free. But all the way up to, I mean, Steve Bannon literally spent like 20 hours with Jeffrey Epstein prior to the arrest.
Yeah, they're in the
Okay, that's real. Okay.
I still don't know why Steve doesn't like me. No, I don't understand. I never do anything to these people. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know
you
why.
shower. So, yeah.
And I exercise, you know, which is apparently I'm not the only one in the room that exercises. We just found out right now too. That's it. You know what? By the way, can I say this for the movement? Like people can kind of see what I'm doing here with the aesthetic. We got Sarah Stock, we got Braeden. You know, we're kind of like going down the line, and then all of a sudden, then there's me. You know what I mean? But we got to get the aesthetic back of the right wing, right? So
Yes.
Braeden follows my aesthetic plan here. The Rift has to have it does have to have an aesthetic. Okay, it's true. However, the question is, the outside looks okay, but what's on the inside?
I can't bend over and spread out here. That's not appropriate.
We're talking about
The content of the podcast, guys.
spiritual contempt.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah,
I
No,
was
okay,
really
I was-
worried
Not
for
the
a
moment.
second.
No, all
Yeah.
right. But two super chats sent in, by the way. You know, I never understand Rumble. Rumble's the only one where it's like YouTube's like consistent. It's like I'm really happy we have 200 people watching on YouTube. Isn't that crazy that a channel with 550,000 followers could get maybe maximum 280 live viewers, and we're getting like averaging 200 now on Rumble just a couple weeks in. I mean on YouTube, and like Rumble makes no sense. You'll like have like 700 viewers and it says 1,200, then you're like down to 500. Like I don't know if the views are real on Rumble. Like I'm confused, right? How that works. But I do know the super chatters are real, and they're the real ones. Bloodshot567 said, "Where the hell is our Aryan queen, Anna Perez? Come on, bro." Anna is going to be out with Braeden and with Sarah in a couple weeks. From July 15th to 25th, I'm going to be gone. And they're going to be hosting a bunch of shows. So
We're gonna
gonna
have fun.
Yeah, they're going to be like taking over the show for like 2 weeks basically. So it's going to
that's
be
wonderful.
fantastic. So you'll be around too, but I'll be gone out of the show. I'm going to laugh if I know like my luck is that's when the show takes off and it's like the best episodes ever and like the views are like astronomical and it's like, how'd that happen? It's like, well, because you weren't here. A couple other super chats. We get an air horn for that? People just started putting L Sydney. Who's Sydney and why are there so many L's?
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney
Oh.
Sweeney. Oh, yeah.
Cocktoes and $5 said, invite Lily back on sometime. You know, Lily is welcome back on because I had told her not to say the N-word in front of Matt Gates, comms director, at the episode that we had to delete. And then I found out that Earl Grey, if you want to know where he's at, he's traveling right now. I found out he's the one who told her to say the N-word live. Like I found this out later. She was like, he sat there and said, you'd be okay with it because he's a tease. And the Riz. He's the Riz King. We all know that Earl's the Riz King. He literally is a Riz King. Bring any female guest over, and suddenly there's like they love Earl. He apparently was like telling her, just say the N-word, do it. He loves it. He's gonna think it's so funny. And then she says the N-word while we're like in the middle of a serious stream, like Jim Hoft is on of like the Gateway pun and stuff. We're like, wow, we're doing this, huh?
No.
But I originally was like, okay, you're not coming back on. That's ridiculous. And then I find out it was our fault because our editor in chief asked her to use a racial slur on the show. So shout out Earl for hilarious stuff. But also, Lily, you're welcome to come back on. We'd love to have you on, but please don't use the N-word on the show until the last segment if you'd like, because we're trying to stay on YouTube, so we'd appreciate it.
Is Lily dating that Arthur fella?
Oh,
No.
yeah, no, they're married.
Oh, good for them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
they got married recently. It was pretty crazy. That's what we're promoting here, ladies and gentlemen. Race mixing.
Interracial marriage. Well, wasn't it RFH who said that white men go marry Asian women? Maybe she got it wrong. Maybe it was the reverse. Maybe it's white women marrying Asian men.
You know what? RFH, that was crazy. That was crazy. RFH, that was a crazy guest. I try not to speak ever anything about my guests because I want to be nice and have decorum, you know. But like,
You're very diplomatic. Yeah.
yeah, well, I try to be diplomatic more than some, but not always. But not everyone's diplomatic here. But RFH has really ripped into me a lot on the internet, and for someone who's like ripping into me, you know, pretty often, I was like definitely underwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like I was like, where's the she's like calling me racial slurs and stuff on the internet. And I'm like, where is this? You know, I kind of like a woman who would like slap me. You know what I mean? I mean, I
Is
don't mean
that
that in a
right? Okay.
suggestive way. I meant like,
Interesting, okay.
it's like, I don't mind like a catty. I don't like, I'm talking online. Like I was expecting like this like catty. I didn't know how she looked or anything. I was like expecting this like sort of like a Laura Loomer or like, you know, you have these people that are like, you know, they're catty. You know what I mean? And I was expecting like a catty bitch, you know? And then I ended up just like, it sounded so suggestive. I didn't mean that in a suggestive way at all. I just meant like you were expecting like a little bit of like fun online, you know, like a woman like
Banter.
teasing you and I, you know, going back. And it was just like,
Is this RHF?
All right, yeah, Red Femme Hitler, RFH.
RFH.
And she was just like, it was just like, she's just quiet. And she was just like, we could date Asian men, or we could date Asian women. And you're like, that's the point?
And Amish people.
Yeah, and then like Amish people are horrible, and they're all sluts, and they do drugs. And you're like,
Inbreed.
and you're like, wait, what? That's the point? We could say anything we want. We have free will on the show. We can say anything we want, and we're talking shit on Amish people. Were you also shocked?
They're not even going to see it. Of all the people to talk trash about.
Yeah, we have Amish people. They're not even watching it. Anyway, it's totally on the side note. That being said, let me go to the next story today. I want to talk about Diddy and what's going on here. No, this is serious. So check this out. Sean Diddy Combs' Washington Post trial continues after jury reaches a partial verdict. Before we talk about that, I want to remind you guys, don't forget to check out, where is this? Oh yeah, grab some of this stuff. We're big fans of Van Man here. Everyone knows that. We've been pushing the beef tallow, which is fantastic with the honey and the essential oils. It works really well on your lips. It's fantastic. It moisturizes your face. There's no seed oils in here. There's no death crystals and absolutely no parabens.
Has not been used at a Diddy party.
It has not been used at a Diddy party. It could have been used, though. It would have worked.
Yeah.
But by the way, the baby oil was not baby oil. You know, that was all date rape drugs in the bottles, by the way. People don't know that was GHB.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, it was GHB. I wasn't, from what I've heard, it was not, like, it wasn't just thousands of baby oil bottles. It was like Hypnol or something like that.
Why?
That's what I was reading a report on. I was like, maybe that's a lie, but I was reading something about it. That was like, it wasn't just like baby oil inside. That's why there was like 1 million bottles everywhere.
Huh.
Come on, you have to know about silicone at this point if you're you're not using baby oil. Let's be honest. Are black people using baby oil from lovemaking?
I don't know.
He's not like an old school fella. I could see him using that. But you're saying that basically he mixed drugs in with it, and when you put it on the skin, it then absorbed? Or?
I think they were just drinking.
They're just
I think it was just like hiding.
So they
drugs
weren't.
in plain
I
sight.
could see that. I mean, black people, they love Hennessy. They love drank. Right.
Yeah.
So I could see them putting their drugs in baby oil containers.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, so it's not actually in the baby oil. It's just a container full of.
Yeah, I think it was just baby oil containers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
It's not
maybe I'm
chased with
lying.
baby oil.
Maybe I'm lying. That's what I was
But
reading.
there's no beef tallow in it.
There's no beef tallow. This stuff's good, but also make sure you check out the sunscreen. This stuff's amazing. It's beef tallow and zinc. So this stuff is it's just tallow and zinc. It's amazing. It has no carcinogens, doesn't cause cancer, and gives you a little bit of sun exposure. You can see I'm not like fully pale. Like I have a little bit of like sun exposure. And so, you want a little color, a little bit in the skin. And I like to have that. So make sure you grab some of this. It's probably like equivalent to like SPF 15 or like 20 or something. So it's not like SPF 50 where you're like, the sun doesn't hit your skin, but you don't get burned, and it doesn't get off in the water. All the products they make are the products you use at home, but without all the toxic chemicals. Get 10% off with promo code Elijah at vanman.shop/Elijah. Use promo code Elijah at checkout. Links on the screen in the description.
Is that how you stay white?
I stay white because I was born this way. Southern Europeans stay white by talking on podcasts and calling themselves Southern European. That's
It's good.
dude. Literally, can I ask just a question about one of our guests? Do you know what blew my mind? The Christian nationalist that was on, RC, was sitting there, and the whole time I'm thinking like he's a Palestinian or something. And he's like, growing up as a white kid. And I just like look at people, I'm like, and my eyes don't work anymore because everyone on my show tells me they're white. Now, speaking of Southern European guests, ladies and gentlemen, Edward, I don't know if you say your last name on the internet, so I don't, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Is it Sizzle?
Zal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edward Zal is a Southern European. Like, next thing you know, I just found out Edward's British, actually.
Yeah, I'm
So,
British.
he's a
Did you
British
know that?
man.
Yeah, I'm British, yeah.
Very much like all the modern British people.
Wait, you had RC on though?
Yeah. Do you know who that is? I didn't know about him until he came on, but he came on. Is he your friend?
Wait, hold on. First of all, not RC Maxwell.
No, RC right corner.
Yeah.
Braden's hip. He
RC
knows about
Maxwell
this.
Yeah, I wasn't
he would
sure.
never come on
I
the
wasn't
show.
sure. I was like,
He knows about this guy, right?
that's the more well-known RC. That's what I was just making sure.
Yeah, we used to be pretty well connected, in touch frequently. We sort of fell off communication recently,
Just
but
be careful. You said you guys just touch frequently. So
we
I
used to
just
touch
want-
frequently. Yeah, it's one of the gym things. It actually improves testosterone flow. No, but I was looking forward to actually meeting him. So damn, maybe I was out of town.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Also, someone said about the show with RFH that was 2 shows of nonsense. Someone said in the chat. All right, let's move on to the Diddy things. But by the way, it says here the panel said that it has reached a verdict on all but one of the charges in Combs' sex trafficking case, but it will continue deliberating on Wednesday. By the way, in the future, guys, when we come back, we're going to try to hit more stories as we're going. We just, our main writer for today's show is his birthday today, so no one wrote the show today, I don't think. so I'm just kind of winging it.
You're doing a really good job.
We're just winging the show.
I've read this story. I can help you with this.
Yeah, okay, here you go. Well, we're getting into Alcatraz Island after this, the new alligator Alcatraz. But New York jurors in Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial told a judge on Tuesday that they had reached a verdict on all but one of the charges in his sex trafficking case, which could send the music mogul to prison for life. After more than 12 hours of deliberation, the panel said it had decided on 4 counts of sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution, but it had not been able to reach a unanimous decision on a charge of racketeering conspiracy. Judge Aaron Subramanian.
Indian name, by the way.
No.
I thought that was an American. Told jurors to continue deliberating Wednesday, which both the prosecution and the defense supported. It goes on to explain that Sean Diddy Combs trial, blah, blah, blah. It is your duty as jurors to consult with one another and to deliberate with a view to reaching an agreement, he said, repeating his instructions from Monday morning. Each of you must decide the case for himself or herself, but you should do so only after a consideration of the case with your fellow jurors, and you should not hesitate to change an opinion when convinced that it is erroneous. So basically, from my understanding, we don't know what. Do we know what they determined? Because I couldn't find an article.
Well, yes.
So tell me what the update is.
There's 4 counts.
Yes.
There's 4 counts that they have decided on. And so attempted rape through force or coercion. That's count 2. Count 3, sexual assault with intent to rape. Count 4, sexual battery involving restraint. And count 5, sexual assault under physical restraint. So I mean, it does look like, Diddy, at least by himself, is going to jail for about 20 plus, just for those.
They said he was guilty.
Yeah, those are the counts they've come back on.
But they determined he was guilty.
Yeah, yes,
man,
and
wow.
then the ones
That's
that they
not
have
good.
not, the ones they have not is simply is count 1, which is the RICO conspiracy charge, and the RICO conspiracy charge is actually arguably the biggest because you make the argument now if you've been to a Diddy party that you were party to the abuse, and then there's a question about this in by itself. I mean, I know there's been many questions about. TPSA parties, after hours, these things are the leadership responsible for what the attendees do? One in respect to Diddy, we've got most of Hollywood that has attended these events, and also people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, which I did tune in, by the way, for a couple of days of the trial. Did you know that Neil deGrasse Tyson is accused of going to a couple of these parties and engaging in homosexual sodomy?
Well,
with Diddy and others.
I thought the homosexual sodomy was just listening to him speak for 15 minutes about any topic.
You do get your ears get sodomized.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is gay.
He sodomizing Diddy or others. That's what they were accusing you of. Yeah.
Based?
It's just, don't look at me. I got nothing here, man. This is
No,
not my ballpark.
look, there's a lot of people mentioned, including like pastors and stuff that are mentioned that were going to these parties.
Yeah.
And like, it made me feel really good because, I haven't been a perfect person. I know, believe it or not, I've seen a boobie, at one point in my life. I know, when I was a kid.
Wow.
It was called breastfeeding. And it wasn't weird.
It's a good point. Look,
I just meant, like, no one's perfect, but
you're an authentic fella. And I mentioned Milo earlier. I would trust you and Milo Yiannopoulos much more than I'd trust many of the mainstream conservative influencers and other people because they're just doing some really weird stuff behind the scenes.
They're fake.
They're clout
they act like they like the one thing that I like about at least the progressive, I call them the progressive right, because like Jack Doherty, these guys are not Democrats, right? These like these girls and stuff. I mean, even the porn stars, they're not Democrats. They're actually Republican, by the way, which is why they're always at turning point. At least they're honest. Like, at least Jack Doherty's a piece of shit and like just like runs a online prostitution ring, with girls. And like, people don't know who this is. Maybe you're a little bit older. It's like a young streamer, right? He really is a POS, and he genuinely, like, the way that all these young streamers work now is that like they all have OnlyFans and run these girls with OnlyFans, and the way that TikTok and YouTube are used is to draw people into the OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. So they don't get ads or monetization; they do make adult content, right? But one of the crazy things is that I can respect a guy like this sounds really weird because I'm gonna get taken out of context, but like this is why I can have Eva Lovia on the show where people melt down. It's like I can respect a porn star who for at least being honest. I don't respect the making of the adult content. I don't respect the position. I'm not respecting a porn star, but I'm like, if that's you and you're owning it, I can talk to you because we're dealing with a real conversation that we can have here. We can have a real interesting conversation about your life and what's going on. I'm not promoting it. I just want to it's interesting. Everyone's seen you naked. How does that feel? It's a crazy question. I did ask.
Is that what you asked? When did this happen?
Yeah, I've asked multiple people. I even told one guest we had, it was by accident. It was a transgender called Tiffany Starr. And it was back when Savannah Hernandez was working. And we were like, both should have killed ourselves that day, joking though, because we looked to go find a profile picture of Tiffany Starr. Didn't know Tiffany Starr was a different kind of star. And we saw Tiffany's dingleberries inside of someone's clam. And that's what showed up on Google Images.
Oh.
And we didn't realize that Tiffany Starr was a boy. We thought it was a liberal girl that we were inviting onto a debate. And we just didn't do a lot of research.
Yeah.
That was all the research we needed. And I remember going, this is an open server. It's now going to have, they can see what we've seen. And we now saw Tiffany Starr's dingleberries inside of a clam. So, for the children, that was an episode of SpongeBob. Sandy's cheeks, but they got clapped. You know
There
what I mean?
has been a collective cooking of this generation, right? Of
Yeah.
your generation, Braeden. And I think that some of your generation is you've decided there's just so much material that's compromising of you on the internet that you just you're taking the route of we just don't care anymore. Like, we're just going to normalize all of it, right? And it's not to say everybody's done this. I mean, sure, Braeden, there's probably not anything like that of you out there, hopefully. But your generation you grew up with, I mean, there's probably a lot of girls, that maybe a couple in high school. What is the percentage? I mean, it's like 1/3.
10%.
10%.
10%
One in 10.
Yeah, 1 in 10 women.
So there are girls you went to high school with that have OnlyFans accounts.
Well, I was homeschooled, so
wild.
there were only 3 kids in my class, so I would hope not. That girl
you
was
were
super
homeschooled.
sweet.
Okay,
She's a missionary in Papua New Guinea or something like
Oh,
that.
that's
But yeah,
wonderful,
without a doubt, what you're saying. I mean, I go dancing at country bars for line dancing, partner dancing. Like that's my entertainment.
That's what you're into.
That's my fun. Well, it's better than doing the Stairmaster for an hour a day. You know what I mean? I would rather do that than walk up flights of stairs. But I remember I was talking at a conference about 1 in 10 women are on OnlyFans. And that's just the people that are willing to admit it. You're talking about people being real or authentic. There are plenty of people who are still ashamed of it, who won't go out and say it. I mean, I ended up going out. And then my buddy was talking to a girl whose friend ended up being an OnlyFans girl. But she didn't say that, right? So these are the people that still hide it. And so to your point, Elijah, when you're talking about, people being authentic, at least the people who have gone through, like I said on my interview with Sarah, right, that episode, I said I myself wasn't perfect. I struggled with pornography, but at least I'm willing to admit that rather than curating this idea of, well, look, I'm the perfect golden boy and I've never done a bad thing in my life. It's like, no, I am a sinner who needed God just as much as anyone else does. And that is the message that I want to portray. That's what we want to do with, obviously, that's why I like The Rift, is because we're portraying, even though we may disagree with someone on some doctrinal viewpoints or theologically, we're still willing to have the conversation because they can respect our viewpoint as authentic and honest just as we can theirs.
Well, I think that's
agree.
what real Christians are. I mean, honestly, real Christians are not perfect. All right, they're people like Elijah. Okay, we've done things which we regret, and it's been rough. Life has not been perfect, but here's the thing: it's way more honest to just address that. And
In the last 24 hours, believe it or not.
Last 24 hours. You're the CEO here. Okay. But look,
No, I'm
is
saying,
that why the couch is in here?
Do you
What has
not,
been going on
well,
here?
why do you think me and Mendoza were working late? No, but I was gonna say, I mean, you don't sin every day. I sin every day, you know what I mean?
Proverbs.
Like it's a genuine thing, and dude, you know what I love though? I feel like I'm gonna be one of those girls that's like, how old are you? Oh, you're 28. You're a baby. How old are you? I'm 29. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna do one of these moments, but I do think there's something nice about Gen Z is that sometimes the only thing that they've done wrong is like pornography, and it's like, oh, millennials don't even think that's wrong. Everyone just looks at porn. It's like, yeah, millennials. I feel like millennials were like the last generation went out and did bad stuff. Gen Z doesn't go out and do bad things.
Mike's about to dish. So
No,
It's true, though.
I was
It's
gonna say that we grew up in a generation where, in our 20s, we had Four Loko, cheap Ubers, cheap Airbnb,
and the
Tinder.
liquor stores sold
And
to
Tinder.
minors still.
Yeah.
You could still, my generation in high school, you still buy liquor from liquor stores in LA. They didn't card you. They didn't have like tap to go. You just paid cash.
Spring break was wild.
Right?
Yeah.
You could drink as a minor, and I got pulled over several times drinking as a minor, and that's pretty great because you know, if you have alcohol and there's a minor in the car, hopefully it's you, or else you're gonna be in a Diddy case. You know what I mean? But no, yeah. But it's like we used to drink. I remember like crazy. Like, do you ever see those videos where it's like, "Mom, are you fine? Me, yes. Me actually dying in a field of alcohol poisoning at 15. You know, hoping I'm gonna survive the night. Like, dude, you used to be crazy, and like parents would let you drink. Like, you know, growing up, you'd drink at your friends' houses, and we'd have backyard parties. And now it feels like Gen Z doesn't do anything. So like that's actually kind of good in its own way, but it's like they're actually having the least amount of sex of any generation. Do you know about that?
Yeah,
you guys aren't sleeping around.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because it's easier than ever. We normalize. I mean, Mike was talking about you have Tinder and you have all this stuff. We have normalized how easy it is to download an app, literally lie in bed and get someone to come over and have sex with you. Like no effort is required. At least in my parents' generation and even to the millennials to some degree, you had to go out, you had to pursue, you had to go.
You had to hunt, man.
You had to
really
walk up and meet someone. You had to buy them a drink or buy them like there was effort that was required. And the difference is my generation doesn't have to try at all. And so a lot of people have just opted out of it. They've just decided, well, if it's really this easy, is it something worth getting? And so what they've decided to do is save themselves for marriage. And so you're saying, well, my generation isn't having sex, one, and it's
I'm not
kind
saying
of
it's a bad thing.
No,
I'm just
not at
saying
all.
It's like it's an interesting thing because every generation's always slept around for the last like few generations, and then you guys just stopped doing that.
Well, there's also a little bit of a microcosmic test here in Florida specifically because they banned porn at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
At least most of the porn sites. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you literally,
No, I wouldn't know.
Most of the porn sites are
Yeah, it's like
in this
it's crazy.
It's
Backdoor
crazy.
sluts 7.com, even 6.com, 5.com, even
I'm
number
just saying,
9 is
you
pre-banned.
can Google things for the show now, and you're not going to have to like blur the NDI.
Yeah.
But that's the point. Is like this generation specifically in Florida. I play pickleball with a lot of younger guys, like about 18 to 25
we gotta
year olds.
play.
Oh, you played, Brett?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I'm like a 3-5.
Well, I've never played, but we have a bunch of pickleball courts at Lifetime. We should play.
We should do an episode out there. That'd be kind of fun.
You know, I could have the membership at Lifetime. We have like really nice covered
What?
pickleball courts. Like 10
this
of them.
place is awesome. All right, well,
Yeah.
where I was going with this is that I kind of tested this. I asked them, and it's not even like on the radar that it's been banned. They're just not even thinking to look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are out there that they from the community I'm at here in Florida, they have actually greatly benefited from that being removed from the search algorithm and those other things. I mean, it's still there on X, it's still there on Instagram, but the point being is it has enriched Florida.
Well, that's just it. And so it is kind of a twofold solution. One hand, it got banned, and so a lot of my generation is just, screw it, we'll go do something else. And on the other hand, you have a generation, because we're saying, well, we're not having sex. Well, many guys aren't even talking to girls. They're getting blasted online for looking in a girl's direction on her gym TikTok of her wearing nothing.
It's true, man.
And
Like
so they're
the
not talking.
policing in like the liberal world
Yeah.
now, it's not fun to be worldly anymore. Like it's like what attracted me to the world was like the promiscuity, the drugs, the sex, and
What's
like,
in your
like,
face,
it's
dude?
like-
Have you seen some of this crap in the gyms, man? Like,
Yeah,
the
but I'm
girls
s-
are wearing these, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I'm saying with the
It's
policing
not
now, like if
that
you go
when
to
we were
liberal
younger, man.
sides, it's like a bunch of just Me Too stuff now, and like everyone's just like I even watched some like I couldn't believe this was like a real podcast. There's some kid that was interviewing one of Zerka's friends, and the guy was like, I feel like I was like in an episode like what Mormons say that the world's like, like you see like a Mormon propaganda piece. The guy's like, Zerka doesn't do drugs, man, and the guy was like, no. In the bathroom at Jack Doherty's place, Zerka and I did cocaine. And the guy's like, he literally does this. He goes, dude, no way. He said that he doesn't do drugs. It's like, bro, you never done coke, brother? Like, it's like, no, but I'm saying it's coke, dog.
It's
and
Zerka,
also, it's
yeah.
Zerka, it's Miami.
He's the cocaine crusader. Everyone knows this.
Also, the fact that I haven't done cocaine with Zerka is a sad thing for me. I'm just kidding. No, but it's
Miami
like,
is too easy. Like,
Yeah,
Mike,
but
and
who's
I were having a
acting like
cigar
that?
in Miami, and there was this chick that joined us. She was like a waitress. It's too easy. It's too easy.
I had to make
girls
a rule,
outnumber us,
no drugs. I had
it's
to tell
easy.
him I can't do it. I had to make a rule for myself. This is how like slow I am in my Christian development. I had to like make a rule with my friend, like, hey, in my life, I'm not allowed to do cocaine, and like that was a big step for me.
Well, there are actually some priests who were doing snuff. I think it was the 14th, 15th century. One famous case, a priest did snuff right before giving a sermon, and he actually puked right over the altar and everything.
altar? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a very infamous case. And then they made a papal decree to ban doing essentially cocaine prior to.
Well, this is what we use here, Zins and Alps.
Zin.
But I think we're gonna get a cigar after, right, or something? Are we? Yeah. So
I
I'm
was
not going to do
planning on it, yeah.
nicotine right now. So I'll probably do a cigar after. We have a. If anyone's ever in the area and you want to, Homer, if you're watching as well and you want to meet us at the cigar lounge after, text Mendoza and let him know if you want to come. But
He's
one
pretty
of the-
satisfied from the Braeden pick.
Yeah, I was like, $100. Thanks for the no, but we have cigars in the locker. But what I was gonna say about like with this stuff is actually like my generation. It's crazy out here. When I was in Australia, Coke's $500 a gram. It's $500 there. It's crazy.
Goodness gracious.
$500 in Australia.
I have no point of reference for drugs.
Well, it's like what, $50 here, probably.
Well, think about how
40,
many
40,
hours it would
50
take you to
40,
work
50?
to get that.
How would I
That's a
know?
good frame of reference, Fred.
No, it's
That's
like
why a lot of
40 or
people smoke.
50.
It's cheap,
But it's like 40 or $50. Anytime I've really had it's always been like pretty much free because the environments I'm in. But I was joking with him earlier. I was like, yeah, this is the only studio I've ever worked in where people aren't slamming lines of Coke all the time.
Yes,
and
yeah,
I'm naturally spurgy and like all over the place. So it's like actually kind of crazy. Like if you ever see me on like an Adderall, I have a prescription for Adderall and occasionally I'll take one. I don't like to take them. And I'm like, it's insane what it does to me now these days.
The superpower a little bit.
Yeah. It's like mix that with alcohol and you're like a motor mouth. But it's like I'm more like in the mode where like I think Gen Z also, like a lot of Gen Z are so like it's kind of this way of like I've said, like if you ever like look at a lot of porn or you're in sin for a while and you do a lot of sin, no matter what it is, like it's like if you drink 3-4 days in a row, you feel what, horrible and you never want to drink again. I think Gen Z kind of got brought up into like they just have so much like porn and corruption and things around them that like you're probably just it's kind of just gross. Like you're like, it's like I don't even want to be involved in it because I see what happens. It's like you get into porn and all of a sudden you're gay,
Yes.
And that's what happens to people. So I think that it's like, it's a real thing. And so you're just like, I'm just going to just separate myself from the world now. And they always say, it's like literally Gen Z are a bunch of like prude Amish conservatives, but they're godless, which is weird. They're like godless, but they're also modest too. You ever see how the girls dress? They dress like lesbians.
Half of them. The
They
Christian
do.
ones do, but then you get the other side of Gen Z, which is like the millennials before, where they're just like, we're just going to go crazy because the world doesn't matter. And there's no God, so I can do whatever I want. And so they're the ones making the porn. Because obviously 85% of guys in America have admitted to watching porn in the past month. That does
20%
also
lied.
It's that well, like it does include a significant portion of Gen Z. I mean, 18 to 25-year-olds aren't even approaching women. It's like 45% of them haven't approached a woman in real life. So they're just watching porn. And so all the girls are moving over to porn, like the OnlyFans thing, because it's easier for them to make the porn for the men to consume to just perpetuate the problem. And then you have the extremists on the other side who are like the Christian nationalists who are just going, well, I'm not going to partake in any of this. I'm just going to wait till marriage because statistically speaking and scientifically speaking, couples that get married and pray together have a 99% chance of success, only a 1% chance of divorce. So it's like, I would rather have one successful marriage because I grew up in a world looking at what broken homes do to children and what broken families actually do to the communities around them. And I don't want to perpetuate that problem. It's called, it's a pastor was talking about it. He said it's generational curses essentially. So it's like, as my generational curses that I've been handed down, whatever that may be, I'm going to break them. My dad, his grandpa, or my grandpa, his dad didn't hug his kids. He was like a handshake kind of guy. So my dad instituted hugging in my family. So my next step is to go, you know what I mean? It's like you break down those little.
Dude, trust me on that. Do you have kids? You have kids. You have kids?
No, not yet. No.
Do you know what
Hurry up.
sucks is like what sucks is like when you see that your kids, like my son, no matter what I buy him, he likes to play with trash, So I hope his taste in women isn't similar.
Well,
but,
there's something very wholesome about that. It's more that your son has chosen to play with something that's like just his own thing. It's like Legos.
Like, he doesn't want the toy. He wants the trash that it came in. And it's like, I just reminded myself, my son wakes me up often. He's like, wake up, Dad. And he's like, play. And he doesn't know how to play, but he's trying, And I just like, now like what he wants is time with his dad. What he wants is quality time, right? He just wants to be together. And there's like the sense that like, I just want to make sure that like I don't not spend time with my kids because my parents spent time with me, but it's like, we have a startup going here and it's a lot of work and, it's tough, it's just a lot of hours of what men would relate to this, a lot of guys out there, you would just work long hours. So you work a lot of days. Most of you probably work 6 or 7 days a week. If you're trying to support your family, like the whole idea of like having weekends and stuff, what the hell? Like if you have a weekend, you're probably doing handiwork and you might even have a second job. Like I don't know any man that doesn't work 6 or 7 days a week at this point. It's tough, but reminding you, it's like we can't lose sight of what matters. Like you said, why are we doing what we're doing? Make sure you spend time with your kids. Make sure you have kids. Make sure that you you know, that you have children, you spend time with them. And also it's like, and you figure it out. So I figured out, it's like, I'll just spend time with my kids in the morning because I don't have time right now at night. So then I'll, you know, wake up really early. Like, you know, it's like, you got to wake up like 6 and then you come home at like 10 and it sucks, but that's when you have time. That's when I have time. And so it's like, but it's tough, you know, and I'm not going to lie, it's tough, but I would like more time with my kids at night. I would like to see them grow up. But unfortunately, we need to talk about the big beautiful bill. So
Well,
that's what I'd rather do than raising my kids.
This does all actually tie in, because you think about this, our quality of life, right? The things that we would like to spend some money and spend some resources. If we're going to go into debt for, we'd like to probably get some more time to spend time with our kids. You know, have kids, have families that you don't. They're just not going to take up 80 to 100 hours of your week to produce for. You know, but here's the thing with it: everyone at this table, we're generations that have essentially been used by the older generation, right? The porn that Braeden was speaking about, this issue, they were okay with this industry exploding, right? I mean, this industry really rose through the third industrial revolution, the expansion of the internet, and of course, one of the biggest content expansions during the internet was porn websites, right? Our parents, God bless their hearts, man, they didn't do enough to protect us from this stuff, all right? And moving forward to, the Diddy stuff. Look, the Diddy case, that's happened in every city in the country. It is younger people that have been used and abused by celebrities, politicians, and other people. I mean, the Justin Bieber case is a microcosm of what's happened to many younger people, both in conservative media all the way up to entertainment. I mean,
He was stretched. Everyone knows that.
golly, that's terrible.
I'm just saying, okay, you can...
Poor guy.
Most people I knew in LA were taken advantage of by adults, and you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you can tell. Like, I can look in his eyes and like tell that, like, he has a lot of pain and a lot of trauma in those eyes. You can just see it. I think everyone relates too, but it's like, like you said, this generation just like, they cashed in on us. Like, it's kind of like the debt, how we're like, oh, future generations. They made all their decisions and they never had to live with the consequences. They never have to, because their $200,000 home in LA is worth $4.5 million now. And it's like, we were saying, where does like even with now, it's like, who has money? It's just the middle class then is now the upper class now, because they retain their money. And then they don't even like give it to their kids. It's like, well, you got to earn your own money. I got to go. They blow it on cruises, and stuff like that. It's like, you're a nepo baby. Do your parents? I'm going to put your parents on blast here. Do your parents set you up for success, or have they done the white crime, which is just sail you off into the third heaven and let you struggle session yourself into whatever life you have?
I mean, Braden's here. I mean, look.
I know he's like in the media industry in his 20s.
He's not going to work, man. Okay.
It's like, have your parents helped you get into the media industry?
No, so I was homeschooled, and through that was forced into writing my first and then second book. Obviously, I did it of my own free will, but also it was definitely recommended, which I wish I could have brought right here because I forgot, because I'm an idiot. But I started my social media without my last name attached. When it started blowing up is when I finally attached my full name to it, just to prove that I could do it to myself. And then, yes, my parents certainly helped because they care about me and they want me to be successful. And at the same time, I pay rent.
Do you get a small loan of $1 million?
I friggin' wish, man. But no, I work for everything I've saved every dollar I've ever made. When I was 8, I used to catch frogs next to the golf course that was like close to my house after school, and I would sell them for $0.25 outside karate class. I did everything in my power possible to make money starting in first grade, and so you get the whole nepo, but it's like, as parents, it is your job to set your children up for success. And so some people are going to have a better go than others. I understand that I have been blessed significantly more in different aspects than other people have. And at the same time, I have been not blessed where other people have, right? So it's like, I have had different struggles than other people would have, i.e. with pornography and other things like that, where other people had a better, a spiritual life growing up as a kid, or, whatever. But my parents certainly have helped fundamentally mold me and set me up so that I could become self-sufficient, so that I didn't have to worry about, like trying to,
they say the nepo baby means like you just got raised in a nuclear family that raised you well. I grew up in a different from a nepo baby. It's called the nada baby, where your parents just give you nada. You know what I mean? You just, you just get drifted off into the sea, and they're like, hey, I hope we didn't even teach you how to change oil. I hope you figure it out. Does anyone relate to this? You're like an adult. Nobody prepared you for life.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then you like meet people from your hometown now, and everybody is like, basically, this sounds so elitist, and I'm not talking shit because I help the people in my hometown, so I'm not like casting down on them, but it's like people that don't know how to help themselves, and it's like it doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm like, I grew up poor and with no examples, and I just told myself every day I wasn't going to be poor. And so I did the greatest thing you could ever do to make money, which is work in a field that is the most censored and demonetized means of living in the entire country.
You're a hustler
right-wing
for sure.
politics.
And just to
People
show,
don't know it.
we're pretty biblically literate too. We can bring this back to the parable of the prodigal son. And if you think about what we're describing here, it is right for people with resources, if you're parents, to pour into your children. When you think about the prodigal son, one lesson is that really that son had to go out and really learn just how crappy the world is when you try not to work inside the parameters of what God's given us. Two, the dad didn't give up on him. No. Right. I mean, obviously the dad in that parable is God. God's never going to give up on us and is always looking down on us and trying to help us every aspect when we're pursuing the mission. But in this respect, parents and the boomers really should take note of this. Not only should they be happy to give to, Braeden, Elijah, or myself, but don't hold it over our heads too. I know that we've had
Kevin Sorbo should be giving stuff to be an Edward. It's
that'd be
true.
wonderful. Yeah,
Mike,
good.
that does
me
it right.
stuff too.
Tell
He gave us
Kevin
Braeden
Sorbo to
shit.
give us some more stuff.
He gave us Braeden. All right, this is
That's
good.
actually true. That's actually not a bad thing. No, but with the investment, I just bring up the fact that it's like, it is crazy to me because the world I was told how to survive in the world, and I wasn't ever told that really.
Yeah.
It's like I was actually made into a really weak person, and in like the way that the world works, like even conservatives be like, you just need to go to a gas station in Mississippi and
join the army, get the GI Bill.
Yeah, or what does James Lindsay say? Work at Chipotle, it's a good job, It's like I don't know. He's like, dude, his nipples are protruding through his shirt, It's like out of air because he's diabetic spike is going on.
Touching
but
himself
That
to the
AstroTurf
Yeah.
is not working, by the way.
it's not working. It's not working, Jed. You can like every time I see him, somehow I hear whimpering from Jordan Peterson in the background. I was like, oh, you gotta like him. He's a good guy.
He's a very smart guy.
He's a very smart guy. You're like, hey, you're Mickey Mouse, aren't you? But on the side note, it's
if
like
Mickey Mouse was on cocaine.
it's like I've had to learn even with this industry. It's like we all know the dirty rotten grifters. That word gets thrown out with a lot of people. It's a job. It is a grift. Media is a full on grift. But it's like, dude, you see people that are like, we're going to do the greatest Trump dance that ever happened. You're like, what the hell are you doing? That's a grown man who pays taxes, by the way. Grown man who pays taxes doing that. Sometimes do you ever think that when you see like the grifters, you're like, that person pays taxes and has children. That's crazy. Like they're selling their soul for a couple dollars. That's embarrassing. First and foremost, why don't you just do what the rest of us do and be racist? That'll work better. I'm joking. I'm totally joking. But wouldn't want that. That's
Elijah's definitely
condemn.
joking. He has brown employees now.
That's actually we actually are very we're very multicultural. A very multicultural business. But in terms of the actual standards for what we want, I was just saying that like one thing that we lost. You said the vision. We never taught our kids, like my generation, we're not taught what our purpose was here on earth. We were given bullshit answers like it's to honor God and live for God. But what does that mean? Because you get a lot of this stuff in our culture about like it's passed down where people think they did something. It's like, oh, I taught my kids to live for God. What the hell are you talking about? Because like these pastors will be like, we can't mix God and politics. God says to provide for your wife and look out for your wife like God loves his church and provides for his church. And you go, okay, well, guess what providing means? It means working a job. And I was never taught how to make money. Rich people are taught how to make money work for them, not work for money. And I've had to figure out how to make money work for me. Not very well, but it's still doing better than my parents did. And then you go down with beyond that. It's like nobody tells you, it's like, well, just don't do drugs. Sometimes you need to get through the day. It's called caffeine. Anyone do it before? I need it almost every day. So it's like nobody tells you the fact that like, when you're going through life, people are mean and evil and people are going to destroy you. And, you live in this gynocentric world and you need to try to fight evil. You need to crush evil. But how do you freaking do it? Parents gave themselves these ideas. Even churches do this today where it's like, be a good Christian. Don't be political. Don't do this. And it's like, if I'm going to protect my wife, I've got to make sure that Lake Worth citizens are not near my neighborhood. I don't live in a Lake Worth town. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's a practical decision. Like, why are white parents not telling their children? Like I had to tell my wife when she moved here, if you avoid interactions with Lake Worth people, your chances of interacting with random violence or problems on the street is going to go down about 99%. The chances of you being randomly mugged, killed, anything, if you just stay away from these people in general, where they congregate when they're in groups. I had to give the thing, if you're in an amusement park and you see a bunch of groups, them gathering, leave. We don't go to water parks because these people are there and it's dirty and gross. Like, why does no one telling their people? It's all just like these like ideas of like, honor God and work hard. It's like, why don't you give real practical advice? Tell me how the world really works. Why? You didn't want to be mean? Because guess what? I learned it the hard way, right? I've been accused of things. I've been attacked. I've been everything, physically, mentally, spiritually, constantly censored. No one told me how nasty and crazy the world is. I learned one way or another. And now I'm prepared. I'm going to prepare my kids and tell them the truth. But our parents fucking lied to us, man. And they lied to us by keeping away the reality of the world because they didn't want to be racist and sexist and even the Christians. And it's like, you didn't tell me anything. And why am I finding this out as an adult? What did you do for me? And I feel a little bit of resentment, Well,
the cost-benefit analysis was completely incorrect from their half. They thought they were helping us by not revealing to us like the horrible nature of the world. And also they took the rebellion against their own parents way too far, because a lot of them will say, I don't want to be tough like my dad was. My dad was a World War II veteran. He used to beat me as a kid. He used to be tough. He used to tell me, he used to be really harsh to me. Sometimes you need to be told those things because the world's going to tell you those things. You might as well hear it from your mom and dad who love you, right? And then you'll have some time to get over it. Right? The world doing it in a job or in a relationship, the world is tough. There's no way about it. I mean, with the marriage thing, no one tells you you're going to get in fights with your wife. No one's going to tell you have to eat crap sometimes, in regard to, not really giving it back sometimes if you're getting screamed at by your parents or other
no
people,
one told you about marriage.
No.
They never told you, like Mark Lobliner says.
They wouldn't even fight around us. They were like, okay, banish them away. Sometimes you need to see your parents fight. All right, you need to see that that's real. Okay?
Mark said that. He goes, no one ever tells you growing up that it's okay if you hate your spouse sometimes. Like, I remember he said on the show, he's like,
that's real.
He's like, it's okay because there are seasons where you will, if you're married for at least 5 years, there will be seasons where you literally start to despise each other, hate each other, and that's okay because
you'll love her more.
Seasons where you love each other more than anyone in the world.
You got through that stuff.
Yeah, right? But it's like he said that it's like true. No one says in marriage, it's like hey, young guys get married. I'm like, hey guys, marriage is a lot of fucking work, and it's not because I'm talking about my wife. I'm talking about all men. Period. Yeah. You are voluntarily putting a woman in your house, you crazy psycho fucking freak. You're letting a woman in your bedroom. What are you doing? Like, it is crazy. It's like you have this creature. Those games you play, but then you go hang out with the boys. You got to go back home to that every night. You got a game. You're in a constant game. You're in Squid Games, right? It's Squid Games. That's what you live in. It's what marriage is. But I'm not saying this in a bad way. It's like yeah, but just like working out and things that are very hard and take a lot of dedication and discipline, the reward is great. Also a reward, like it's like people that separate children and marriage. Like, guess what you can get in a marriage when you can get children out of it that have a mother, and like there's some benefit of having a stable mom that you pour into to raise those kids so that you have stable human beings, because so you like have some purpose, because having kids brings purpose. Like it's literally insane when you have kids. Like, I miss my heart aches for my children like all the time. I'm sitting in my office and I'm like, it's gonna sound gay, but I love my kids. I know it's kind of gay to say that publicly, but I do love them.
Your kids are gonna love these episodes. Trust me, Elijah. On a serious note, your kids.
I do love them.
They're gonna be like, damn, that's dad. Dad's awesome. Dad's based.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, it goes one of two ways with conservative kids.
They're like,
kid, I'm going to kill you. No, but I know. But I'm saying, like, it's genuinely like I'm sitting there. I'm like, I love my son. It's like, yeah, marriage has value. I just think, like, even with marriage, anything, like, nobody. Like, why I'm trying to work to make sure I can help my kids buy a house when they get married. Like why is everything so retarded and backwards today? Why are we not? Why did our parents just think like, oh, you can just, that's why we're rethinking life and life feels like we have no history.
Well, let's hone in on that.
Reinvented life.
The big beautiful bill should have a provision that buys homes or subsidizes homes for families, Gen X and millennials. Like Elijah and my generation were probably the last ones that can actually afford to even put a down payment for a home. Oh, like your generation is just being set up to rent for the rest of your life.
I know. I'm just looking at a curiosity right now, and I'm going, this is scary. Like, we're talking about the big beautiful bill. There should be provisions in it, one, to help afford houses, but there should be child subsidies.
Yes.
So when you have kids, the government should supplement your income. They should aid you in that. We should have a government that wants to promote healthy families instead of bringing people in across the border and importing migrants who are not compatible with society. I mean, we're talking about this rant of ideals And the whole reason why our parents our parents and grandparents generation thought so differently, that they're like, well, I don't want to spank my kids. I just want to teach them that the world is rainbows and butterflies, is because the school system taught them to. We implemented the school system as a means to, one, pull women away from their children and put them in their workforce, which, let's be honest, is just daycare, so that corporations can get the best years of a woman's life while promising, oh, we'll freeze your eggs and you can use them whenever. That's a lie. Second, children are then pulled away from the family. The Bible very clearly says in Proverbs, teach a child the way he shall go and he will not depart from it. If you properly teach your children how to act and how to behave, one, by leading with example, because children will follow example more than they will follow word, but two, by also word, the child will stay good most of the time, statistically speaking. But when we pull the women away from the children and they don't have a nurturing kind of implementation in the household, and they pull the fathers away and they put the children in the school system teaches them to hate the country. The parents are too busy focused on working so that they can afford rent and basic necessities, that they don't even want to be mean to their kids because they just want to give the kids the life that they never had. So the kids are not prepared for the world ahead. Like Elijah was saying, no one tells you that marriage is work.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it is as close to community as we can build, right? The first command that God gave Adam and Eve in the garden was go forth, be fruitful, and multiply. It's a good thing.
Well, there's something you got hit on there, is you really need to hone in on that. I recently read a study about the importance of the first 9 years of a kid's life. And it's not just that they be around the mom, it's be around the dad too. We're so busy that we're literally losing the most foundational years of our kids' lives. I mean, for me, my parents poured into me. They made me go to a freaking math camp. I had to do a lot of reading between in those young years. And my parents pushed me in those first 9 because your brain gets developed during that time. If you don't nurture the kids during that time, they're going to be cooked for the next 40. Okay, like a lot of people, they've peaked because that's the peak they can get to, because mentally they were not nurtured during those first 9.
It's actually true. You can also see too with like my younger son. He's developing a lot faster than my other son because he has a brother to look after. You know, they say that typically too.
It's very smart,
yeah, which is like normal. You know, we're like he's already almost like walking and he's not even a year old. You know, and it's like kind of crazy. And he's like speaking and stuff like that. Versus my other son, you know, my other son can like read now too, which is when he's like 2, but like he like read different words and recognize, you know, sounds or to get, you know, whatever. And like, you know, you do see this importance, but they have a good mom. And I got to say this, listen, if you guys want practical advice, not everyone can stay home and, you know, afford to, you know, make their wife stay home and stuff. So I'm not going to, you know, preach to you guys that I have a solution, but I do have some advice on where to start. If you do want to see your life improve, watch 2 shows every single day. Number 1, you put on my screen, watch Liz Wheeler every single day and then Fresh. Because he has a warning, don't buy a car until you watch this. An hour and 23 minutes. Don't do it. And Liz Wheeler. And I just got to say,
His fetish.
I got to say, Liz Wheeler and Fresh should start a show together called Liz is Fresh or Fresh Wheeler. That's actually even a cooler name.
She hasn't recovered from the Epstein binder. I
don't think I should just start commenting every day like, nice Epstein binder. That wasn't, dude, I'm going to tell you, that was so freaking embarrassing. That was
awful.
Literally, and by the way, someone in the chat, a woman, I wasn't saying that it was bad having a woman in the bedroom. I meant like, you know, men only want women in the bedroom, but for like 20 minutes, you know? I'm talking about
just
the
to
fact.
back Elisha up, like the last generation, and even before, you stayed in separate bedrooms.
They used
that
to,
was
yeah.
normal. It wasn't
I know.
considered weird. And it's also because just like you have different schedules, okay? The men were working up early, you know, and women, they have
That's
really weird
normal when you have
schedules, right?
young kids though. Like
Yeah.
most people I know when they have a young kid, they sleep separately, like especially when like they're nursing or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty normal. Like sometimes I sleep with my wife, and sometimes right now the baby's in the bed. So like whenever the baby's during this phase, we're in a like we're gonna go back into the same bed on Saturday, but we live in an apartment, so like there's not a big enough bed to like put the baby there. But it's like sometimes I'll just like. Well, I try not to sleep with my little son too, but my other one, because, dude, what's up with toddlers? Like having the most psychotic sleep. They like somersaults and give you like little forehead kisses at 3 a.m, ask you for snacks. Like it's not a good situation. But it's like, no, it's like very, very normal. I mean, I'm not going to say anyone because maybe people don't want to talk about their personal lives. Pretty much everyone I know who's got little kids pretty much sleeps separately. And it's not because they hate each other or some issue. It's like, why are you both going to lose sleep? Like someone's going to nurse the kid. Why is the dad going to lose sleep? Like everyone's like that. Well, because we're going to suffer together. Guys are so gay today. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like
We're not having periods together, okay?
Yeah, it's like yeah, you're not pooping together. You know, it's like yeah, sleep together sometimes. Good, have sex, enjoy yourself. You know, whatever. But like Go get a damn night's sleep, and maybe even let your wife have a night's sleep one night too. You know, go sleep with the kid and let her get some rest or whatever. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. But also, why are we acting like it's not the woman's job to raise the children today? I just know a few liberal egalitarians, and it's like the way they raise their kid is so gay. You know, like I don't judge anyone though, outwardly, but inwardly I do.
Yeah.
But they're always like, you know, you should share more of the load with your wife. I'm like, yeah, well, let me just ask her if she could just put in 15 hours a week at
Elijah's
Subway.
just paying rent.
Yeah.
Elijah's paying for the food.
Yeah, let me ask her
That
if she
is
can
hard,
if she can
okay.
help pay the. I'm gonna ask my wife then if she can just pay the electrical bill this
Yeah.
month. It's like, no, I'm literally working a lot because I want her to stay home, and we make a lot of sacrifices because when you have one income working, you just like that's what the liberal friend I have. They married a feminist, and she's like, they do 50-50, like 50-50, and you're like, dog, your kid is 2.5 years old. It's not gonna be 50-50. Maybe the kid gets older, you can do 50-50, but like your kid needs mom. It needs the freaking mom, and moms want the kid. Let the dad work. Go work your ass off and go do whatever you want. I'm just saying today, it's like even raising children became kind of gay. However, I do know my situation. Well, and she doesn't work. That was what I was gonna say. She's a stay-at-home mom. Wanting to do 50-50. What the hell are you doing? You're at home. You don't work. Your husband's working to pay for you to stay home, and you want to do 50-50 with your kid. I thought that was psychotic.
That's
it's like,
insane.
she pays for her to stay home, and she still and doesn't want to like cook dinner. Sometimes he like cooks the dinner and stuff, and you're like, I would divorce.
No, and you'd
I
be,
honestly
you'd be
would. I
right to
couldn't.
do so. And look,
You
this
paying
is
for a woman to stay home and not work, and she's still making you do 50. That's
it's part of this
psychotic.
anti-male, you know, there's this hatred that some of these women have, and then they've essentially multiplied this exponentially by having shows that they espouse this as some kind of working theory. These women are freaking depressed. They're a mess. All right, the originators of this garbage, even Ellen DeGeneres being one of probably the prime example of this. Look at her today; she looks like death.
Yeah.
Okay, lesbian, 60, no Botox. I mean, no one wants to see it.
foreskins injected into her
No
face
foreskins
recently.
injected.
Nothing.
Look, it's a failed strategy. It leads to unhappiness throughout the rest of your life. And look, the true model is let the man be the man. All right, let us try to figure some things out, provide for the family, and it's going to be a great example to the kids. Man, I didn't see my dad all the time, but I knew he was working his ass off. My dad's done everything from project management to literally running a taxi cab. Like that's how hard my dad worked. My dad is actually the white.
I'm not minority
one.
mocking.
No,
but
he's the white one. He's a Polish British. Yeah,
Wait, are you half?
Yeah, I'm half and half. Yeah, it's like ordered at Starbucks.
That's why you have facial normal like. Is this why you have normal white guy facial features, but your skin is Southern European?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Also,
Aryan. It's an Aryan king.
yeah. Also, Zal isn't exactly an Indian last name either. I'll just
well,
say that. But
it's short for Zelensky.
Really?
Yeah. There was some Jewish blood way back in the day. You know,
No, I have Jews in my family too.
I have Jews in my attic.
Oh my goodness.
I have some 6 feet under in my lawn. Sorry, a couple super chats here before we head over to the locals only section. Jacobo Lawrence. But anyway, I just still think that, like you're saying, yes, but I also think it's crazy. If you're a man and you're paying for your wife to stay home, also, people here, our tech guy, everything, people, have different marriages, different families. Like I always say, we talk about interracial marriage, and it's hard because everyone here is like interracially married, and like we're all like, we're the worst white supremacists in the history of white supremacy.
So true.
That's a joke, by the way. This show's not about that. But I do bring up the funny notion here of like, yeah, it's hard with parenting though, because life is so expensive, and I just always want to give a caveat that. That's why I don't lecture people like, your wife has to stay home. It's funny that in 2025, like the ideal sign of wealth is what? Your wife staying home, having more than 2 kids, and having a farm. This is all women aspire to. Does your wife want chickens or something like that? Or is she want farm?
not really. Well, kind of.
She wants
but-
rural though, right?
rural, but not a farm. Yeah.
But like, I don't mean like actually like raising like corn, but like
Having some chickens, getting
yeah,
some
chickens.
eggs, things like
does
that.
Does your wife want chickens? Yes, and they want flightless ducks. Which influencer got them that? Because they all want those little
Don't do
garden
ducks. Don't do ducks.
Why not?
The poop is slimy and it gets everywhere and you slip.
I don't even like
It's-
animals.
chickens
I used
are
to
great.
kill them for a living. I literally did surgeries. I did medical surgeries and voluntarily mutilated, maimed, and hurt animals for the sake of scientific research. Very few people can do that. I was willing to take an oath that I would willingly violate.
Animal HIPAA.
I knew that I was causing trauma and death voluntarily to animals and had to sign legal paperwork because that's illegal to do. But in the context, it was legal in the laboratory. And it's like, I used to decapitate animals. That was a job of mine for a while, just decapitating maimed and dying animals. So
What the hell goes on in LA, man?
yeah,
What doesn't go on in LA?
I literally, and that's what I was trying to do before I got into this. When I was teaching, I was like trying to get into this. Like, yeah, anyways, it's just what I did. So yeah, I literally had to separate myself from animals, and I've never liked animals since. People said psychotic, but I used to like animals. I just had to like mentally, you don't
have a dog or anything?
I know how the Germans did it, so I know it can be done again, or someone say for the first time.
You can't look at an animal.
This is a perfect transition to the Auschwitz Alcatraz.
Yeah.
We were talking about that today.
We're gonna go to that right now.
Alligator Alcatraz.
Well, we're gonna do that. I want to read these two things. We're gonna talk about that. Okay. Chocolate Lawrence said the Epstein binder was the only second most embarrassing thing this Chiefs fan saw this year. Okay, that's actually sad. The Chiefs, I guess, have not been doing well. Also, before we talk about the Alcatraz, we have two more super chats. One from Noah S99 said, "Win Candace in the chat." Why are we doing that?
We were talking about Candace earlier.
I think we were talking about race mixing, was it?
No, we were just talking about
No,
Candace.
it was, but Candace, that was way earlier.
Yeah, we were talking about
And we
Candace
also had
and
$20
cancer.
from Zesty AIDS. Let's get some. We gotta get some confetti.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yes.
love it's on the second page now. So,
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
yeah.
we gotta get that back on the front page. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be on the second page. Legalize medical cocaine.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a transition. Oh, and we also have No S99 said Candace dick fit in your mouth for $5.
So true.
Sorry, the show's been a little bit less professional the last couple weeks, but it's because some things are changing, and then it's gonna go back to being professional on Monday.
We're
But-
very professional individuals. I mean, very competent. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about professionality. I need to go to this. So today, because I'm really wrote this and spent a lot of time looking for this. Today, Alligator Alcatraz, let's go ahead and take a look here, just opened up here in Florida. I believe this is what it is. It is literally a moat surrounding a city that's actually just Fort Lauderdale. But this is what all Florida looks like, honestly. With
A lot
an
of Lake
airstrip.
Worth people there.
Yeah, a lot of Lake Worth people. Looking down here, so this is the new detainment center. I want to play a video here as Trump was here today in Florida. I like how someone told me, like, dude, Trump was here. I go, dude, Trump lives here. It's not that big of a deal. Like, just insanity. He lives up the street from here. I was like, well, he's always here. But he went to Alligator Alcatraz. This is his home state. It's funny to see him standing with Ron. Ron is in high heels, I would imagine. Check this out.
This is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of
He
Justice
is
for the
wearing high
approvals. I'm
heels.
sure Pam will approve.
They're not the
but
same
then
height.
I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in like a day or two, so they're not going to be detained hopefully for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now, that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way founders intended, but you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
All right, so you were there today. Oh, sorry, we'll go ahead, but I wanted to hear. I don't even understand what this is, why they built it. I've not been tracking this, so go ahead.
Isn't it interesting how he's like, this is how the founders intended? I don't think the founders intended this much mass illegal immigration, and I think they would have handled it a little bit differently, assuming they were
Shot the
anything
people.
like the Zoomers of today. But yeah, I want to hear about it
That's
too.
what they did to the Mexicans. They went to war with them
Literally.
and shot them.
Yeah.
We won the land.
Pentravilla. You remember that? Pentravilla?
Well, I'm sure they don't remember
Led
that.
to Mexican War. We actually almost, small take. We should have kept Mexico.
We should have.
We should have
100%.
kept Mexico.
Especially Baja California should have been.
That'd have been awesome.
That would have been beautiful.
So I did go there today. Went to
Yeah.
Alcatraz, Alligator Alcatraz, they call it, or the Gator Gulag, or as the Rift editorial crew came up with a new one. Was it the Auschwitz, Alligator Auschwitz?
It is Alligator Auschwitz.
Pretty good, guys. So I saw it all. It's real. The gators are real too.
There was alligators around there.
But it's the perfect prison. Perfect prison.
Is it? Where is it? Is it near Tampa or where is it?
No. It's actually nearer to Naples. It's about
So West Coast.
Yeah, it's west of here. I'd say about 2 hours west of here. Okeechobee. It's really the beginning of the Everglades. That's the location.
And the Everglades go all the way across to here too.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So this is the real swamp.
the real swamp.
I'm just clarifying to people. Do you know why they like? Do you know why they chose this?
Well, they chose this because it's remote. I mean, that's the first thing. So this is, I took some footage today. You're seeing this is the outskirts of the prison. It's if you were to escape, let's say you're a member of Trinidad de Agua, you're going to have to navigate this. There literally is no gas stations. There's no liberals that might be empathetic to your cause. You're going to have to go through swampland. And I'll tell you today, you will die. Yeah. Right, there are alligators and crocodiles and snakes and malaria-borne mosquitoes. If you're not going to die from a rattlesnake, you will die from exhaustion and dehydration. It is not great. And you know what? It's very cheap. I've been very impressed with this play, and there's actually about 8 to 9 other locations in Florida that will meet this too, with money that we've already paid in taxes for the hurricane relief stuff. So they're just going to bring the generators, the connexes. It's a pretty great plan. And that's why I'm a little bit suspicious, just naturally, why the hell all this came together in about a month and why we weren't doing this before. Obviously, political ambitions of both Kristi Noem, the former governor of South Dakota, and of course, Ron DeSantis, who's terming out, but his wife is wanting to come in.
Yeah.
I think there's a perfect storm now that we actually can build these. But I confirmed again that it's real. The alligators, by the way, I needed to see this because a lot of people are saying the alligator. Even I heard Ron DeSantis during one of the press conferences saying, "Oh, okay, well, there's not really a ton of alligators." No, the alligators are real. And to prove this, we actually went into the swamp area. It was not smart. I mean, this is like, look, guys being guys, we're gonna do dumb stuff sometimes. I got cornered by gators. Literally, I found a path near the outskirts of this camp. And there might be footage of that. I think I sent it to your producer. I'll have to send the Dropbox to him right now. I'm describing this.
You can send it to me
So
too.
yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send the Dropbox.
Send it on X if you can.
Is it this one? Is it this one?
No, I think.
Hey, Ed, look up. This one?
No, that actually is the drone. So first of all, you get there, and Elijah, you know this because you've been through a lot of media stuff. So you get there, it's just a whole crap show there. It just got done raining. And that's why I could get away with launching the drone at this point. Everyone was like, they're just being cowards. They're like, you're going to get arrested if you launch a drone toward the facility. I was like, look, man, I drove out in the middle of nowhere. I just got drenched. I'm doing it. And it's
muggy. It's hot outside.
It's freaking hot. I was like, whatever.
Florida's no joke.
So what you're seeing right now is I've launched the drone. I'm heading toward Alligator Alcatraz. All right, this is the aerial view. I think a lot of people.
This was ballsy of you, by the way. You're a great journalist. This is fantastic.
Yeah, we try.
I would have been too much of a coward to launch
you
a drone
done
at.
it. I saw you on
yeah.
J6. You were freaking look, Elijah.
I
if
break
you guys
into
don't know
things.
this, especially Braeden, you have to look at some of Elijah's stuff going back to the riot stuff. Elijah is brave. All right, he went out there. I don't know, half the time didn't even have a freaking bodyguard or a cameraman. He was the cameraman. Elijah went into situations where he would get freaking lynched. Okay. So you got to have that spirit. That's what it really means to do this, especially.
That's how LA was. I was just in LA 2 weeks ago covering the riots.
You did, yeah. You faced out a bunch of horses.
You can still see my hands burned from the pepper balls. It's like permanent scarring.
Well, I
now.
heard
It's kind of
Sarah
annoying.
was getting coffee, by the way.
Yeah, like okay. So look at
You're
this.
literally
Look at
an
this.
MMA guy
You
protecting
see,
you guys. She's getting coffee.
You can see like the permanent scars from the pepper ball. I have scars all over my body from the riot. And then like Sarah was like, I don't know why she was coming to the riots. I was like, wow. You shouldn't. Originally, it was like a protest. I was like, "Don't come. It's unsafe. We cannot protect you. It is currently. You will get arrested. I'm not bailing you out. Like, sorry, it's done." And then they were like, I think she like took like a picture or something in front of it. It was like, "My job's done here." And then like went and got coffee or some food. And I was like, that is like diabolical to do a photo op. That's the girl meme, with like
good for her for at least, I guess, maybe putting some effort. I want to be fair to Sarah. She did put some effort. She was excited.
Did a good job.
She was excited.
No, she did a good job. But also, by the way, check out her
Mike, I
YouTube.
sent you this
Sarah
stuff.
Stock. Sarah C. Stock, she has a new interview with Dr. Taylor Marshall, Catholicism on why the dangers of Zionism as a theology, Catholic theologian. It's really good. It's doing very well. Check it out, Sarah C. Stock. We'll probably end up launching that video on our channel as well on Saturday, maybe, to try to boost it. But make sure you guys, again, just promote it. Sarah does have a channel. She has a YouTube channel. You should follow it. But keep going on the Alligator Alcatraz stuff.
Yeah, so Alcatraz, it's supposed to house about 5,000 illegal immigrants. They're going to be held there between the period that you can legally send them back to their countries and process them, all this other stuff. They did do something interesting. When you enter Alligator Alcatraz, this facility, there's actually in both English, in Spanish, maybe in Somali too, there is a step-by-step guide how to self-deport yourself. Like if you decide once you get to this hellhole and you're sweating your butt off and you're essentially getting malaria from all the mosquitoes and these other things, which is far worse, by the way, than getting eaten by an alligator. I think just getting eaten alive by mosquitoes should be enough of a deterrent. But
it's the bugs, and by the way, the
Oh, it's
alligators
terrible.
are eating people. A woman was just eaten. So this is the entrance right here, right?
Yep, right there. Yeah, and so Dom Lucre, very, very brave fella. I quite love Dom.
Was he with you?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, he came out there with me. So you'll see Dom. We actually.
This is just 1 second, by the way. I don't know if
Oh,
it's still
I cut just to show the police. This is what it looked like at the
Okay.
beginning. But there's some other footage in there, and I'll just kind of describe that portion. So when I got there, there were protesters. Well, Indians, not the ... but the
feather.
Here, I
the
have a
feather,
quick
yeah.
clip. Let's play this. Go to my screen here. Check this out. These are the protesters out in front of here from CNN.
Affront to the people, the nature, the community in South Florida. This is a environmentally destructive and spiritually poisonous prison camp that they want to construct on sacred land in sensitive habitat that cannot be allowed to stand.
So I love that you played that. So this white environmental protester, last name Cosner, okay? This fella, he was actually brought in by an organization in Miami. I was able to get one of the organizers. When I showed up, there was a bunch of brown people and white organizers. I mean, some might say that's kind of based. I don't know, maybe a form of
Like
feudalism. but
South Florida white people.
no, but they're like, no, like
The whites are in charge of the browns again.
exactly.
All
And
right.
in this case, they actually shipped these people in. They bust them in to protest, not just today, but this entire week. We convinced, Dom was perfect for this. We convinced them to reveal the deal. And then they caught on to it as we were asking the question about it. But they revealed that a lot of the people had been busted in. They're getting paid to show up there. And look, there's no protests that are authentic anymore. Let's just be honest about this. Even what we saw there. So we got the flyer and we got the information. It's like they call it like the Indian Heritage Youth Group or something out of Miami. It's like a white kind of guilt group that's giving money toward preserving Indians. Well, let's just own it, man. We took the land and we're proud about it, right? All right. So and then we're using it now
We
to
won.
build these.
We
All right,
won.
these great jails. All right. But part of one of the things we saw, it is going to be effective. Right? Not just the alligators, but
Yeah, put up the footage while he's talking.
Yeah,
Here.
It is remote. And this is inside, of course. I mean, it's not cages with kids inside of them. Look, that we're making bunk beds. It's a decent facility.
They get beds.
Yeah, but they're not going to live here. This is a terrible place to live. That's the point. It's not supposed to be the Ritz-Carlton. It is the alligator Auschwitz. All right, you're going to show up there and you're going to hate
I
your
wish
life.
You're getting
we are
turned
not
into
based
soap.
enough, but like
getting
I get
turned into soap
These
and
are
their
lampshades.
shoes.
They're gonna have masturbation machines that are gonna kill people. Apparently, it's really happened. By the way, I love how people are saying this is like Auschwitz or this is the Holocaust, and that's actually funny to me because if this is the Holocaust, then what was the Holocaust?
They'll have a commissary. They'll have a soccer team. They'll have all kinds of
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this
Oh, a
is a nice
diving team and an
facility.
orchestra?
Well, this is nice. I like. We're not going to go. I'm saying this is a nice facility. So like that's just like I think people shoot themselves in the foot with these comparisons to World War II. I think it's like kind of crazy. But the
Because
media
they don't
is
have any
saying that.
frame. They're intellectually not just dishonest, but they're just vacant. Like
Right.
they use that. They use that analogy because they're not human beings. A lot of them are just vapid retards that are Twitter accounts, right?
Yes.
In reality, the worst of the worst are going to get sent to this place. It is probably, maybe, arguably one of the most base things that DeSantis or President Trump has done. Actually, Dom Lucre, he put together with a video with some of the footage. If you want to see this, it's actually pretty fun.
Is there sound?
Yes, there should be sound.
I
I
don't know
got
if
this
we're gonna get
footage.
copyrighted.
I almost got eaten by an alligator to
I'm
get
gonna
this
have to
footage.
turn that out though because I think we'll get.
Is it gonna
copyright.
hit? Okay.
Yeah, on YouTube we'll get copyright.
Yeah, so I snuck up on that gator to show they're there. Okay, they're there. That big boy, this is where I kind of realized I kind of messed up. That one, and behind me, there's like a 10 to 15 foot gator that are blocking the path I got down. And here it is. Look at this freaking thing that is going through this dinosaur.
Jeez.
Look at that bad boy.
Do you know what? Like this is gonna sound a little bit weird, but like there's very few things that like frighten me in this world. And well, I know that the swamp puppies, are generally peaceful creatures. There's a lot of things in the world they say are generally peaceful, that are really not. These are dinosaurs. People are like, they're cousins of dinosaurs. No, they're dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're so ferocious when you see them in person. they're all over here. They're in Boca, in
yeah.
the waterways. You shine the flashlight at night. They're all over, right here.
They will kill you and kill your dog.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't think twice.
I'm
about
just
it.
saying, they're just, you see them sometimes, and they're just like so gnarly. I mean, the iguanas here as well are crazy. Right? I ran over one; his arms went flying. It was crazy. But he was.
You're still doing these medical experiments.
Yeah, but no, but
keep your dog away from a lot. Joking.
No, I
dude,
will.
Dom, can I?
Yeah, dude, down with the Burberry glasses. Dude,
I love him, man. I'll do.
I was actually like going to ask.
He
about that. I'm
sacrificed
like,
those today to help me out. By the way, they broke.
I was actually going to ask about that.
Those are expensive, like $800.
Was he wearing Prada jeans too, and then some like Louis Vuitton sneakers? Like
He was
like
he
in
was
New
fle-
York.
Is worth fleek. He came
He's
very well
iced
dressed.
out.
He was iced out. Yeah, Dom was always well
Can I ask?
dressed.
Because I like Dom too. But what's up with Lake Worth people in brand, like displaying brands? Like none of us are displaying brands really at all, right?
Well, for
like,
Dom, it is truly it's to show success. I mean, for Dom,
Is that what they? Does
he
it
came
work
out
on
of-
them?
yeah.
Does it work on them? Because
Yes.
it's not work. Like I don't see name
Dom likes
brands.
to look nice,
No, but I'm like Dom. I'm saying I know this is a Lake Worth thing. Like I understand Lake Worth people. Do
I like this. You're
But-
making this metaphor actually. Quite
But I don't under. So is it for them then?
Yes,
Is it
it's
for other Lake Worth? Because I know that people like West Palm residents, like myself, like yourself, which are different than the Lake Worth people. We aren't impressed by brand names. I find brand names to be tacky. Like, not that if you want to buy something nice, I had a friend who had like a nice pair of like Cartier glasses or whatever, but they weren't like, I'm telling you, they're not logoed out. If you want to buy like a nice wallet, of Louis Vuitton or something like that's different. It's
You
not
get
in
a
your pocket.
Hugo Boss jacket.
Yeah.
It's not, the same as wearing a Supreme shirt.
Right. Well, not even, but Boss. Remember, get your brands right. Hugo Boss is cheap. Boss is expensive.
Boss.
Yeah,
But if you
Hugo
buy,
Boss did great uniforms.
correct. That's what I'm saying. But if you
Yes.
get a Boss jacket, yeah, you spend 15. Like any man's coat is going to be probably somewhere between in any brand like $900 to $1,500, and I can tell people are wearing nice coats. But the problem is that's why I don't have a lot of them because they're very expensive.
Yeah.
I would never wear a jacket like this that says like politics on the side. That's actually the brand, by the way. But it's like you never wear this. I just wear the jacket, and it's nice because it's tailored and it fits well. I don't understand. Me and Mike were walking past the Louis Vuitton store in the Boca Town Center here, and it was a bunch of Lake Worth people in line, and they had like their jeans had Louis Vuitton emblems on them, and I didn't even know they made that stuff. And I'm just like, I didn't get it.
It's a different culture, and I think
What is it?
it's the uniform in Miami for sure.
People here are
that's the
iced
uniform
out.
for Lake Worth, and it's also for picking up the girls and keeping the cred.
Do the girls like it? That's what I want to know.
Well, because
then
it's
I'll accept it.
expensive. It's because it's expensive.
I don't think they appreciate it anymore either. I think it's gotten to the place where they used to be impressed by it, but now they just expect it, and they expect you to buy it for them too.
Yes, the Lake Worth women especially. If you're gonna, you'll see videos. It's like, well, I told him to pay for my nails before he took me out on a date. And they get all mad and stuff when the guy doesn't want to spend $500 to get her wig done and her nails and all
That's
that.
crazy. You know what? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Lake Worth people have multiple times really done damage to me. Like we've talked. I mean, everyone knows that. If you're new to the show, you don't know. But my whole left side of my face is paralyzed. That's why like my lip drops and
They
I have
took
like a
swings
messed
at
up
you.
jaw. Yeah. Well, yeah. They busted at gunpoint, busted my face open, and they've put guns at my head several times on camera, and you can go look those videos up. It's like belaboring the point if you've been around here, but Lake Worth people have done a good damage to me through the years, and but like they'll be like looting a Five Below, wearing Louis Vuitton shoes. Like it's actually crazy, and also
Well, it's become a meme, right? Because in LA, the stores which were robbed, right? It's like you almost don't want to report it.
yeah, like
It's the
nobody
shoe
robs.
stores. It's the
I always
Louis
said
Vuitton
bookstores
store, yeah.
don't have security. You know what I mean?
No.
As they say, right? A man who wants to read a book is probably smarter than a thief, So it's like, it's probably true. I just don't understand. I do not understand. I saw Unk. I actually felt really bad. I saw an Unk walking the street up in Lake Worth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
He's an uncle. He's an Unk. And he's like fat and like walking with Aldi bags. Obviously, no shame on buying cheap groceries. And he had what? He had a Gucci hat on. Okay? A Gucci hat. Bro doesn't have a car. And he's shopping at Aldi. The only reason why you shop at Aldi is because you have kids or you're a single college student. You don't shop there voluntarily because you want to. You shop there because you have to.
No.
Okay?
It's
And
like
this guy's walking with Aldi bags and he's got like a $1,500 hat on.
Well, it's like going to Section 8 housing and there's nothing but Hellcats and Mercedes.
Dude. Yeah. and for some reason, no D batteries. Or
I'll throw a lifeline out there for the lake work folks. Maybe that's their form of wealth investment, right? They invest in the cars and the Gucci hats, so they don't have dollars in the wallets to be stolen. And then maybe it is redeemable. Maybe it's not like a terrible return on investment for them because they are going to be able to flip that. Maybe it's fake too. Maybe they're about to flip that fake Gucci hat into real Gucci
I think
money.
they're real though. I think they wear real stuff. Like
Do they trade it for Coke?
but I think it's real because I do see the stores and it's like you go to like Balenciaga and it's just Lake Worth people, And to me, Lake Worth people put the capital L in Lake Worth. You know what I mean?
They do.
They do because I don't like the culture, but I just don't like it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know any guy that's like me, like a West Palm kind of guy, and that like just like is not naturally kind of like they say, when guys see gay men kiss, it's like. You mentioned that. It's like they have the same visceral reaction of like maggots. Like when I'm like, I just like see certain cultures and I'm just like, ew.
It's offensive to me to
eating
see
with hands.
people just waste money like that.
Yeah, I don't like. That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude.
Like I know how much money, how hard you have to work for it, but too, it's just like the way people blow it in bottle service at clubs, and the clothing. Never understood the clothing. Elijah wins. Wait a minute. The bottles are interesting. Okay.
No, I don't go to a lot of clubs, but if
Okay.
I go to a club, I'm not going to go without doing bottle service.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it's okay. You do champagne. You do something proper, right? You don't do Hennessy.
No, it'd
Not
be like
Hennessy.
it would be like a nice bottle of like a Magnum bottle of Grey Goose or something like
Yeah,
that.
well, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not hating on that.
Champagne
I'm
too,
not
like
hating
some
on
Dom or
celebration.
something.
Celebration is an excellent thing to have, but again, the wasting of money. And think about things we've actually spent big money on. You spend it on cameras, you spend it on houses, you spend it on like a proper, like a woman that you've actually gone after, a woman you're going to turn into a mother and you're going to turn into, a grandmother eventually, one day. But the core of it is this, there are proper things to invest your money in. And, of course, Gucci sunglasses are not on my list of proper investments.
But you also notice when it comes to the dating scene, the women who are worth investing in are the ones who don't necessarily even want it. Right? Like a good woman who's going to make a good wife isn't out here going, I need a man who's going to buy me a 6-figure ring. A good woman is like, I'm fine if he gets me a nice ring because he cares about me, but I would rather put that money towards a house. I would rather put that money towards our future rather than him blow his entire bank account.
As if he has money. This guy comes from a rich family. It's like, my people are like, I just wish I have a guy that has a job. You know what I mean? Like, does he even earn his own money? That's how it is in LA. People are just like lazy and poor, but like, you have a lot of money saved up, right?
Me, no. I'm trying to. It's hard.
I do have
I buy all my own
Dude,
stuff.
shirt is more expensive than my wardrobe, probably.
It's
this-
Prince care of. They've got him some clothes.
This was a gift.
I do have some insight.
Didn't deny it. Didn't
into
deny it.
I don't know what it is.
the Lake Worth people. There's one other thing you may not realize is they make money in insane ways, and they've made a lot of money in insane ways, whether it be cryptocurrency, drugs, or
CIA.
some other CIA maybe
CIA
too.
informants.
Maybe also gambling and other things like that. But they blow it just as quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's this new thing. I mean, a bunch of people in Miami have made a ton of money in arbitrage and in crypto. And then they're just, again, because they didn't have to work hard to make the money, they blow it like it didn't even matter. And then they're poor again, right?
Well, to be fair, we went out like this is like what I was saying, but it is true. Sometimes I do have a little bit of like Lake Worth with a hard R like in me, because when you grow up poor and nobody teaches you how to like value, like how to like manage money, sometimes you just like you never got to live growing up. So like the fact that I can get sour cream on my burritos, I'm gonna do the upgrade. You know what I mean? Like we're getting the sour cream. Do you remember that? Like when food was cheap and then it was like 25-cent tacos and you could get like 2 tacos. That was it. Like Taco Bell, and now 2 tacos is like $7.99 or
Can't
something
afford
like
the
that.
steak anymore.
Yeah, well, I can't even afford Taco Bell. It's like crazy. But it's like, but genuinely, when you grow up, with a lot of kids in poverty on like food stamps and stuff. To me, I feel wealthy with stuff that people wouldn't feel wealthy. Like being able to go to a restaurant and just order steak feels wealthy. You know what I mean? And it's like maybe I come from a different standard of people. Like my dream, like a lot of people want to own a big home. I wanted to be able to like not look at prices at grocery stores and just have a stay-at-home wife. And that was like I'll make it when I can do that.
Yep.
And to me, that was like. I think a lot of guys have these, and a lot of girls, have unreasonable, expectations of physical wealth. But people don't realize that our parents before that, like, when growing up, nobody had aesthetic homes. Like this whole thing of like you got to have an aesthetic home. Like all these girls are expecting like these homes that are like new furniture and this. Like, I'm looking around. Did anyone grow up with Like only really rich people had aesthetic homes, but like middle class people just had mixed match furniture that was passed down from like thrift stores and stuff, and that's like what they had. And now like girls, like you get married, it's like you want $40,000 of furniture to start, and they want Pottery Barn. It's like, hey, you don't have Pottery Barn prices. Your husband has a Goodwill salary.
Facebook
Like,
Marketplace, free section.
But I'm just saying, like, people have these expectations of a lifestyle now that they can't afford. So everyone's living on this capitalist, fractional reserve banking system where everyone's just living on credit, and everyone like buys $40,000 of furniture and does 7 years 0% APR. It's like, you can't afford that couch. Don't buy the couch.
Well, and to the couch is kind of a cover. I think that my theory and rationalization with this, a lot of women will want these trinkets and they want these things that it's because they truly just want happiness. They seek happiness, and they think that getting a nice house, getting a nice furniture, or getting a huge account to spend online on Amazon, these other things, is going to buy them happiness. None of that stuff's really going to buy them any happiness. Having kids is going to buy them happiness.
Yeah.
You can't buy that. Investing in things which give longevity, give legacy. That's what's really truly going to give you happiness. But a lot of the women, they don't want to put the work into that too, right? And they always talk about men working. Women, you got to work to not get drug into the horror, ecosystem, right? It's something you really have to turn down. And off that too, you got to stop running your mouths too. Women have to invest in shutting up. Exactly.
Literally.
Okay.
Oh my God.
No,
It's true.
genuinely.
It's just, please be quiet and just give me
Once.
some peace, please.
Yeah.
This goes for all women. It's like, just shh.
They don't understand. We'll make so much more money from them. Just shut up.
Please be quiet and just.
You're torturing me.
You think I want to know this stuff? I don't need your opinions on everything. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's your sister or your mom or anything. It's just, please, just. Men want peace and their balls drained. And that's like, if you just give them that, you'll have a very nice husband, a very nice brother, but don't drain the balls of your brother, please. That would
Please
be
don't
very
do that.
weird. But if you give them peace, so I'm saying one or the other, only if you're married or whatever. But like, even with moms, it's like, at a certain point, you gotta stop trying to raise your kids. You gotta believe in them and you gotta pour into them. But it's like, dude, this is why we don't have women working in the office. Cause like, I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear all of your, ways that we need to run the company and that we need to be doing things. I don't want you to hear about everyone's problems. Shut up.
Well, if you say that, maybe you haven't seen this, Braeden. There's a movie from
Please.
millennial era that had Adam Sandler in it, where it had a remote control. You could fast forward.
Click.
Yeah, click.
I know the movie.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful scene. And the first thing he does, he's fast forwarding through like the endless, meaningless conversations. I mean, I don't know if I'd fast forward through sex. That was kind of weird. That was like a Jewish thing Adam Sandler wanted to kind of seed in there. But here's the thing. He did fast forward through the conversations. And he went through, I was sad. One thing was kind of sad. As they fast forwarded through like his kids growing up, right? That was sad. But it was not sad to
No, but
fast
it's true. Like,
he
you're
muted
just-
her. He's like,
yeah, exactly. You're just sitting there like in life, and I just like, please stop. In your head, you're just like, I have three options. Do I yell? Do I just walk away? What do I do? And then you just think about that remote, you're like, and you're like sitting there thinking about it. But it's true, man. I'm telling you, I have never seen more relationships destroyed by a woman who thinks she needs to give her opinion to her husband about anything. I didn't say everything, I said anything. He doesn't want it. And it's like, but we're friends and we're pals. Well, your husband's gay, okay? Your husband's a homosexual, and that's fine. But it's your husband. Give him space. Give him peace. Like, you ever read like old books for wives on like how to treat their husbands? Like, when your husband comes home, don't let the kids bother him. Like, make sure he has a drink, have some food ready. Like, there was a level of respect. He's going out in the world, he's working, and women just walk all over their husbands now. I have several friends who are divorced by this point, and my one friend's wife, which I won't give anything away because I don't want to, but dude, she was such a bitch. And he didn't understand in the beginning. I was like, don't marry her. And because she's always giving her opinion. She's always telling him, oh, this and that. And here's what I think about your job. And here's what I think about this. And here's what I think about this. And you can make more money here. And I go, dude, this is going to end badly because you're going to get fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
And she's going to divorce you. Guess what? She divorced him. And now fucking takes his
half?
money and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, dude, because she's an unsatisfied cunt. And the Bible warns about like the woman who strays far from home. She's like, it says it's like a gold ring in a pig's snout. Like, like you're wasting beauty on nothing. Like you're casting your pearls before swine.
You end up learning
Like,
so much about
got
what
divorced.
Proverbs and Psalms actually mean by
being married?
living life. Yeah, and it's just true. Like that stuff when you first start reading through, you don't really understand it until you've experienced it. You're like, oh no, that's what he freaking Solomon was trying to warn us about, man.
Yeah, all the
right
women
there.
stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
it's like he literally warned you about the hose. You know,
that's-
he literally like 3 chapters. He's like, yo, they literally like put like perfume in the sheets and are like, it's so nice. Come
She's
here.
cheating on her
and they-
husband to sleep
and
with
they-
you.
Yeah,
All right?
then they bite you like an adder, like a snake bites
alligator.
the heel. Yeah, like an alligator and Alcatraz.
Alcatraz.
Dude, he does. He's like have you ever? This is very sacrilegious, but I once watched a guy who like translates the Bible into like Gen Z internet language, and he like read the chapter on I think it's like chapter
Promiscuous
5.
woman.
And
Is it
there's,
the
like,
Emoji
several of them.
Bible?
I don't remember. I don't know what it was. I just watched it. It was so funny, and it was like he was like, "Yo, that snatch be used, yo. Don't be down with them hoes. They be posting them thirst traps, showing them titties and that ass. God says, don't go near that profile. He's like, don't even click. Don't slide in her DMs. You're gonna get trapped, yo."
That's
and you're
some young men.
That's literally what it's
it
like.
is.
That's like, don't slide. It's like, yeah, I know it's like her sheets. It's like, don't slide into her DMs. Don't get near her. It's like, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I just thought it was funny because it is, you do grow up and you're like, oh yeah, these hoes are literally trying to ruin your life, and they're like promising you, like sex and nice things, but they want to destroy you. And ultimately, it says that their bodies lead to death. It's like and many men have gone before you, and so it's like, but do we learn our lessons as men? Most don't, but you know.
Well, that's the thing. Proverbs, everyone likes to quote Proverbs 31 as like the ideal woman or whatever. But the first 30 chapters of Proverbs are pretty much a warning for guys. It's like, here's what to avoid, and here's what you should be aiming for. This is what you should go for. And I'll say, part of the Catholic Bible, we have Sirach, which for people who haven't read it, is arguably one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book of the Old Testament. I highly recommend it. It is like an even more specific Proverbs, specifically for a guy. Ben Sirach wrote these letters to his son on how to be a man.
Interesting.
And so it's full of so much wisdom, and no one's ever heard of it because this is in the Catholic Bible. I will also say that it is like you said, it's like just a little bit of peace and quiet. I had a friend, I went over and I was visiting from out of town, and I love cooking, so I offered to cook dinner. They picked up the food, so we made steak and potatoes, and I just loved it. And he just had a kid. His wife was like, well, yeah, you guys are some of the only people that we've invited over because, when he comes home, no one's coming. This is his domicile. He is the one who goes out into the world every day, and he's the one who does all this stuff for my child and I. And so when he comes home, I make sure that he's comfortable where he can let his walls down and just relax. And so when food was ready, she literally was like, no, you go sit your ass down. I'm going to bring you a plate. And then cleared it, did the dishes. Like that kind of stuff really speaks volumes, much more than I think you should be doing this, that, and the other thing, and go do this, go do that. And it's, don't get me wrong, if a guy is being lazy, somebody eventually has to tell him, hey, you need to pick up the slack.
Well, you just become poor. Like
Exact-
you lose your property. Like that, there are real repercussions when we're
Exactly.
lazy, right? We don't need women to shame us about the potentials. You will literally get evicted.
Yes.
Right?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It has to, like, I've noticed it even in the marriages that I've seen, where if the wife is the one who comes at the husband with what X, Y, and Z, it is taken as nagging. It is taken as, because oftentimes that is the case. And so the husband automatically perceives it. But if somebody other than the husband, a friend, goes, hey, Joe, dude, what are you doing? Then the guy can actually look objectively and be like, okay, this isn't some sort of nagging or whatever. This is just my boy trying to help me out. And so, I talk to someone and it's like, no, if I'm asking for your opinion on something, then it's like, great. I want to be able to have a conversation with you, but I don't want you to tell me how to live my life every waking moment of every day.
I don't want to hear anything. Actually, I want to hear anything.
Maybe this is my optimistic mindset because I'm only 23.
Yeah, he's like, the way I always let people like, Mike, the way that you want to raise your kids. Hey, Brian, running of any advice to Mike how to be married and raise his kid. It's like, Mike, do you want to hear from Braeden more about how to be married and raise your kids, Mike?
Yes. I
Mike's actually going to be, he's already a very good dad.
Mike's
Mike's very patient.
Mike's like, what only complaint in life is like he just wants to see his kids more, and that's like a good dad. He loves his kid. I don't know if you've said even the gender of your kids. I don't want to say anything, but
no, she's been on the show.
oh, okay. I was like, I
Yeah.
didn't want to like say. I don't like revealing stuff about people's families. You
No,
know, it's
yeah,
like
that's
Gender reveal. Yeah.
yeah. You want to hear her middle name? It's like
Yeah, no. When
I don't even say the name of my kids on the show. So
when you weren't here and I was producing here, she was in my lap.
let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was when
She's
Lauren,
very precious.
That's
Should come on
when
again.
Lauren and Maria were doing the show.
Sometimes I feel like it'd be funny to like just like have a baby on the show.
Dude,
Just
that'd be
like,
fantastic.
just like the camera, be like, yeah, that's cool. I really don't like it. Look at this. By the way, $1 from Doomsday Cracker sent in this super chat is me smoking Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you can see.
Nice.
Wash your penis, bucko.
I can't believe that photo's real.
And then Dusty Tard said, finally, I guess we're not doing exclusive content today on locals because we went way over in time on the main section, but that's fine because we had a special guest today and what was going on with the Alcatraz. Shout out to everyone on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Somebody was saying our channel's censored. It's not censored. It's just new. Someone's like, why are the views so low? Because there's only a couple thousand subscribers. So you're confused because you know I had another channel. But honestly, this is a new channel and it's going really well. I'm actually very happy with the direction the channel's going. Although we did have a massive drop off on YouTube when the Alex Jones thing started, or at that time, or it was due to people watching in Timcast. To the individuals watching Rift on Rumble, shout out to you guys. A couple more of the super chats came in. Zesty AIDS sent $5. Get an air horn there. Said Solomon's Song of Songs warns of them hoes and jackals too.
Facts.
That's absolutely true. And then I think, Homer J. Fuentes, let's go! Sent him $50. He's like our sugar daddy.
He really is.
He really is. I'm talking. I've been in Boca so long. I'm like sitting like this now. It's like I just need to give a home loan to a poor lady.
Gefilte fish. There's a little fish marker around the corner.
Remember when Ron Coleman was here and he was like this. His thing was up. His suit jacket came up and I was like,
he was
Raja, do you want a loan?
He was henchman maxing.
He was henchman Max. I like Ron too. Yeah, he's
funny.
like,
he was cool.
you haven't paid your interest yet.
That'll cost you a foreskin.
This costs you a foreskin. He's
Have
like,
you red pilled your parents on this stuff? I mean, we might as well go there, right?
Have I what?
Has this like come up?
Yeah. Well, I force
They're
it
like,
up.
so,
I forcibly tell them these
Braeden,
things.
I hear you saying some spicy things on the internet now. What's going on with this?
Yes,
you
no,
don't want to
I-
work in Hollywood, do you, bud?
I forcibly tell them these things, and then I remember like 3 years ago, my little sister came up to me, and she was like 15 at the time. She goes, "Hey, by the way, Mom's worried about you." Yeah, and now I'm going on about these things, and I'm showing my parents like all the things, and they're going, "Braeden, we wish you would stop." But they're no longer saying that. They're like, "Oh, worry," like that.
I've
it's
seen
untrue.
your dad retweet some things which are like,
Yeah, he's liked some of my stuff. That
yeah, I was like,
nice.
there's something going on here.
Yeah.
Braeden is having an impact.
I'm not going to say
I am.
anything because they're private likes, but I've just written some things and he liked them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah. That being said, Homer J. Fuentes did say Alligator Auschwitz Maternity Ward Fund.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, are they going to allow them to birth babies there too?
So there won't be women. It's a male-only facility.
Yeah, and I need to read some of these super chats. Don't put it up yet. I need to read some of these super chats here. Let me see if I can find them. Where are they?
They don't make it easy, do they?
No, it's like
You're looking on the back end. Is it Rumble?
Oh wait,
or-
on Rumble?
yeah, I'm trying to
It's
find
a
the
tab, isn't it?
We've done all the Rumble super chats.
no from the last couple
okay.
shows. Let me see. They changed the whole back end. Like, is this? 1 second. So
I wish they made it
Yeah.
like YouTube where it's just
yeah, it's like
all
it's
the
like,
Go
it's
into
like
Rumble
really
comments.
like
Rumble
really
comments are pretty spicy
hard
too, apparently. Mike.
Oh yeah.
to like it's like always hard to like find anything in the back end. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like how do you find? I don't even understand. Like they keep changing it, and I don't understand like, where these super chats are anymore. Like
It's because they're secretly taking them for you, right? It's a just.
yeah, like but it's
It disappears.
it's
It's gone.
confusing because they used to be easy to find, and then like like to try to fix stuff. You're like, but this is now I don't know where to find super chats.
Yeah, they really should, if they fix it, just show you. Oh, here's what we did when we made our hot fixes.
Okay, yeah, but you can't read them now here. Like, see, it's like you see, you can't like open them. But I guess I can kind of read some of them. From the other one, it said going bald is a sign of high test. DHT turns off the hair. Yeah, it's true. They also said read my Rumble rant or else, Mister. That's Soul Explorer. Sorry, these were. Yeah, that was it. I think. No, I think it's
All
like
network.
shocking. Oh, speaking of Hollywood propaganda in cities, see, I can't read it. It's easy, Mike. Have two families. I don't know. I can't read the rest, but some of you guys
read
sent
that
those.
one. I remember that one.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to find them. Oh, and then I think it's on YouTube that I needed to read a couple of them as well. Let me go back here. Give me a second and go to YouTube.
Go to the chat. It highlights it in the chat.
Yeah, but I need to know. But I need to go back to. They're old. No, they're old episodes. Is what
Friday,
it is.
from Friday.
Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can find the. Let me see if I can find the supers. Here they are. Yeah, let me see all here because these were some of them. Okay, cool. So
Nice.
from Luke 685 said we could solve it all by changing it to Palestine. That was on one of the things, changing Israel to Palestine. Someone else said you need to try an Orthodox parish Henny. That was to Henny from Punished Mav. Ked's Dead sent $5 and said, one thing to remember is churches can lose tax exempt status if they openly address some of this stuff. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Nick also sent $10 and said, 29 white men in Colorado just got laid off my construction job, filed for unemployment and was denied. Meanwhile, illegals during COVID got twice my salary from unemployment. This country is garbage now. True. Zaylor sent in $2, said RC's the GOAT. Punish Mav also sent in, said I post Swazis in public while looking for a wife. Okay. $50 from Billy Hades. Said, hey E, it's Billy, your friend from church.
Oh, that's nice.
Billy.
Hi, Billy. I just want to say thank you for sticking with the truth. We will change the future for better for our kids. P.S. Hit the like and share the channel chat. Elijah is super down to earth. Dude, yeah, we actually do go to church together. That's cool. I didn't know you would be in the chat, but hey, thank you for that, man. I really appreciate it. You really don't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. Punish Mav also said, I only want white Christians to be here. No nons. And also said, Illiger with a hard R, Grower Gang SOB. We also have...
Like worth.
Yeah, that's it. But that's awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I just told you I'd read the chats because we did a pre-record. And so typically on Fridays, if we pre-record, you guys send in chats, we'll read them on Monday and just go through them as well. So in case you guys didn't know, although I do say at the beginning of every stream, this is pre-recorded. So please, if I ever pre-record, I tell you guys so you don't send in chats if you don't want to. But we love the chats and appreciate you and always want to read them. Anyways, to my guests today, if people want to see more about Alligator Alcatraz, the work that you did, if they want to find and follow you, tell me about yourself. Tell us how we can find and support you.
You can see the content on @RealEdwardSall or @DiedSuddenly_. And we're producing a lot of investigative journalism reports, other things, but also a film, ds2nano.com, so that you can see our work through that.
And because we had an Indian in the studio, I literally did. I told him because we had an Indian in the studio, I was going to do the interview barefoot.
You got to
did
get
it.
some
Yeah,
My
he did
Pillow
it,
slippers.
I literally said that. I was like, all right, we have an Indian. I got to be barefoot. Vivek told me that's what Americans do. You know what I mean? It's a very American thing to just do your interview with no shoes on. Do you remember Vivek? He had it was like weird. He had his feet like together too, and they were like on top of each other.
He eats weird too, by the way. Like I don't know if you've had him on the show or anything like that, but the pre
he wouldn't.
He
come
just
on the
sits
show.
here and he's like he cuts in real close like this, and I swear we used to do this show where it had a big screen behind, and you'd see the guest before sitting there. He sat there like this, just chugging down frickin' curry. It was I wish we would have recorded it.
It's better than eating it with his hands, right?
Oh, but he was doing it with his hands, man. He wasn't using utensils, and he was barefoot. He was sitting in a chair like Elijah was sitting with his feet up on the table, eating frickin' curry. It legit was the meme before everyone hated him. Yeah.
Yeah. And someone said, Elijah, how do I find the back end? I don't know what that means. I don't know the back end of Rumble or YouTube. You usually just go to YouTube Studio on the settings, or you go to dashboard on your settings if you want to.
No, he means your rectum.
Yeah, I think you moved the back end.
I think, but that's a creator. That's 2 Protects 1 that streams.
Oh.
Still referring to your rectum.
Probably.
Yeah, it's under content, isn't it?
I mean, it wasn't Zesty AIDS. Also, someone said locals tonight. Yeah, I told you we went way over. We already. The show's supposed to be 2 hours. We went 2.5 hours. So we're not. So we usually do an extra segment. That being said, Zesty AIDS said, "What up with Gunter E? Gunter's dead.
Oh.
Gunter died from cancer. I'm not joking.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, it's my dog.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, but
I'm
unlike
glad you didn't kill it in a medical experiment.
right? But unlike people who like cry about their animals on their podcast, I just didn't bring it up because I was like, it's kind of gay. Like I'm not gonna be sad about an animal on the internet. But it was a sad moment, and my dad was really sad. But because it sucks. He lost his wife and like his favorite dog.
No, as a man, you're allowed to cry over your dog like a tear, like at the Grand Canyon. But you're not allowed to go on a podcast and be like, guys, my dog. Like that's a little too gay.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Anyway, shout out to everyone here. Braeden, did you plug yourself?
I did not.
Go ahead.
Braeden Sorbo on all socials. BraedenSorbo. There's a little @ It's on anything and everything. Go buy Embrace Masculinity, lifting men up in a world that pushes them down at sorbostudios.com.
You should have left a copy here.
I will bring it next time.
And then Mendoza.
Yep, you can follow me at Mike Mendoza JPG, also on the screen right there. And see you guys next time.
Look at Zesty AIDS was like not expecting that answer. He's like, oh fuck, in the chat. He was like, yeah. But he did die, yeah. Doug used to come on the show a lot. And then he died of cancer. So only 4 years old, died of cancer. Isn't that crazy?
Sucks.
Apparently Vigelas get lymphoma really easily.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible world.
I know. It's a 4-year-old dog and died of cancer. On that note, I hope we can end all episodes with such cheer. You know what I mean? Maybe soon my dad will die or something, and we can talk about that on the next episode and begin with that. Be like, hey everyone, so my dad's dead. That would be terrible. I don't wish that upon him. I love my dad. Sweet.
I think every episode's a victory, Elijah. They wanted to erase you from the internet, and you're here every day. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, dude. Just so you guys know, a couple announcements. Make sure I don't know if we might have a book club this Sunday. I don't know. We're off this weekend, so we'll see if we are going to have one. I know Mike's out of town and stuff, so I don't know if we'll be doing that. But we pre-recorded the rest of the shows. So tomorrow we have a special on Catholicism, like we did a special on Orthodoxy tomorrow, with some Catholic experts that flew in and came in. And so that's really cool. With a new convert as well. Sarah Stock was on that because just like the Orthodox one, we had a new convert and an expert and stuff, so we can kind of get the comparison there, the juxtaposition between the two, why someone might have converted recently versus somebody who really feels secure in their faith and knows a lot. So that will come out tomorrow. So if you're interested in Catholicism, we are doing that. We are never doing one on Mormonism. Unfortunately, Sarah did apparently do that. I found out an almost serious on like Mormonism or something like that. I didn't know that. I think the episode was supposed to be about somebody's like life, and then it ended up being about Mormonism. And then I found that out after, and I was like, I don't think we're promoting Mormonism, but we do love Kai. But we don't love Mormonism.
It's true.
It's true though.
It's
we
true.
love Kai. Kai's a great guy. I
He
just
is.
I just don't like Mormonism. I don't like it, but I like Kai a lot.
Kai's awesome.
I think he's one of the most talented individuals that I know, and I'm sad that I'm
He's
sad.
Mormon.
Well, no, we offered him a contributorship and stuff, and he passed it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Is
That
it dead in the
sucks.
water, or is it still alive in some form?
No.
It's done.
Doesn't want to work here. I'm not joking. I don't
For
know.
real?
He got his own reasons, but yeah.
Oh man, that's sad.
I
That's
know.
sad to hear.
I know. I wanted to give Kai a show and stuff. I was like going to give him. So we replaced him with a Catholic taller version of him. Okay, no. But I was sad. I really, really wanted to do something with Kai here at the network. He's in the intro of the show and he was contributing, but Kai also died of cancer, lymphoma as well, 4 years old.
Damn it.
Sorry, it's not funny to make fun of people dying of cancer. It's like, But anyway, no, I love
Well, I
Kai.
hope it's not dead in the water. I think they're maybe
Maybe one day he'll change his mind.
one day. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he'll change his mind. But I mean, yeah, other than that, it's still in personal life. I support him, whatever he wants to do, If he doesn't want to do this and he wants to focus on school and his life and whatever, reasons he has, then that's all good. And I know he's got a lot of ambitions and stuff. And, I guess I feel like I got in a it's not you, it's me situation. I feel like I'm confused because I'm like, wait, so you don't want to work in political media, but don't you make political media? Aren't you a political media guy? But I don't think he wants to do this. So we support you, Kai. We love you. We're not going to give away any of your secrets. Your gefilte fish business, you can keep doing it. And sell your lox and bagels in Boca. He's actually starting the Boca Bagel Bar, actually, here. His goal is to be and serve Jewish people and to be their servant. He wants to just serve them, It's a really humble position.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
That's why we moved here, actually.
It's wholesome.
That's why we moved here, was to be around as many Jewish people as possible. We really love it.
Open up a light store, Shame Christians coming into the grocery stores. Don't look at them. Don't talk to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of lampshades around this part. All right. No, but I love him. I'm not doing any shade of Kai. I really love Kai, and he's actually going to be back on the show, I think, a little bit while I'm gone in Australia as well. So I hopefully he's around.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he's supposed to come back in, but other than that, on an official position, he is no longer with us at Rift, which is our first child that's left the nest. We built his entire career up, and we take credit for all of his fame. So,
Oh, don't worry. He's still benefiting from the badge too. Yeah.
oh, does he have a badge to him? Oh,
Yeah.
oops.
No, that's why it's still alive. It's still alive in some form, right?
I mean, not keeping track of my own company. I love.
Well, that's just because he can't remove the badge himself.
Can I tell you? No, you can. You can just.
No, you can't remove the badge yourself as
can't?
an affiliate. The organization has to take it down.
Oh.
So Kai can't take it off himself.
Who even has control of our badges? Is it Dave?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Yeah,
It's just a
right
setting.
there.
Everyone's trying to get his badge removed.
No,
It's
that's
the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like,
I think
do it now,
It keeps it
right
alive. It keeps
now.
it still alive. I
No.
think it would be cool for
I
you
hope he
guys to do
changes
some
his.
content on this.
I hope he
Yeah.
changes his mind.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should talk about it. I mean, like he just got back from that mission trip. You know, he
Yeah.
went and spent some years in Argentina, and I think Kai for a long time has been challenged on this. I don't know if you heard about the old lore kind of debate. I think it was between Spexo, Pine Sap, and Kai on this subject, and it got pressed on those subject.
Mormonism?
Yeah. I mean, he'll defend some of the points, but I think that I think it would be interesting. No, of course.
Yeah, well, that's why, by the way, but anyway, we'll just end it there. Yeah, we need to end it there.
Elijah hates it.
No,
so much.
I just really wanted Kai on the network.
I love Kai.
I really
Yeah,
did.
For
I
the
was
record,
like,
I loved Kai.
I was really, really bummed because I think he's a really talented person, and I felt
He's very
kind of
smart.
sad. I kind of felt sad about it because I think that this is we're going to be building something really cool. And we have a lot of shows starting this year. A lot of things will be taking off, and I think we got some good partnerships happening, and things are a little slower than I'd like sometimes, but so am I. So I appreciate
you
it.
platformed Kai originally on the Blaze, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have careers today too that we platformed and gave them. Some of them even have my YouTube channel. Anyway, we'll just leave it at that. Thanks, guys. Thanks to all the super chatters. Thanks everyone who watched. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of the week as always. Again, pre-recorded episodes Wednesday and Thursday, and then we're off for the weekend. Maybe we'll publish something from Sarah on Saturday, but we're giving the guys America's birthday off. So happy White History Month. Have a great rest of the week, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.